This one, yeah. So halted right there, halted again. There goes INHD. And again, that's good little name there, but it looks like we've reverse split or had this kind of a move before. So I would say watch out for $4 or so here on INHD. So yeah, good couple talk there a little bit. You know, we've done good here today. We're gonna see what winds up happening with the TQs out at the high of the day. And after that, we done, man. So thanks, that was fun.
Always fun. And there's another super chat that just came in as well that was about Starbucks. It was pack 44. So I'm going to throw that one up there. But very quickly, I have a new position that I just put on because we waited for Novo to get back up. It didn't get to 45, but it got close enough. And then you can see a pretty clear trend from the volume weighted average price broke. So I'm short, give it to the prior bar in here, and then look for the VWAP entry. And where did that super chat go? There it is. Pack 44. Is that now is on the off chance that that is
Green Bay Packers?
Green Bay Packers? Let us know in the chat. I don't know who wears 44, so I have no idea.
Davenport used to, but I don't know who wears it now.
I don't know who wears it right now.
I don't think maybe
you're a Packers fan. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you. But you say price target in 1 month. I mean, to give a price target, like I'm assuming you want it to be bullish. Here's the issue with Starbucks right now. See what's happening here? Up around 95 bucks, 95 to 100. It's just rejection, rejection, rejection. And you got the 200 period moving average. So any upward move, it has to, you have to beat this before you can do anything better. But the moment it gets above 100 bucks, I think it's got a pretty clean shot for a bigger recovery. Your issue is the resistance level more than anything else that sits here at the 95 zone. And then on top of that, you got to get to this 200 period moving average first before you get there. So I think, reasonably speaking, given it's been months since it was at this 95, I think your best case scenario in only 1 month would be to get to 95 bucks. Just to get to here would be that'd be a win if you got there in a month, in my opinion. So I'm a little bit skeptical here in Starbucks, just because of the nature of this selling that happened around the 95 level. Until you get through like, you know, 100 bucks, then you're in trouble. So 95 in a best case scenario, but this is downward trending. I don't like it at all. Let's get over to Joe. I'm going to stick around, like I said, until Obi's back. He's just making some European trades.
So Neil and Joe.
Myself and Joe, as we go to...
As we proceed.
To midday with a little bit more me, and then we're back at 2 o'clock.
Yeah. See you guys.
Yo, what's going on, fellow Trader TV live traders? Man, I was just listening to some funny shorts, a lot going on. I hope everyone had a fantastic start to this session. It's been a pretty good one, and not only that, what's going on, Jody? What's going on, everybody in the chat? I hope everyone had a great weekend and we're prepared to come in here today, Monday morning, and get rocking and rolling, because we had a lot going on, and there's most definitely some big-time subjects that I want to touch on. But first and foremost, we're going to wait for some of you guys to continue to roll on into the chat. We dolo today, man. I could probably do this 3 hours straight. But obviously, we're not going to be being sarcastic. Pardon me? Yeah, all day, man. I could do this all day. Maybe we'll start a new little something. But anyways, aside from that, guys, let's see who we got in the chat. Sorry, Assassino, I didn't hear what you said there, brother. Okay, give me uno momento, mi amigo. All right, 907. What's going on? Showtime, Adam DeLuz, Jody Mills, what's going on? T, what's up, yo? What's going on? What's up, yo? Dinkelberg, who do we got? Zion Lala, Jay Bronson, a couple more. Why not? What's up, Stefan B, and who else? Kron's One Put. Okay, why are you looking like 70s Italian gang? Hey, man, that's it. We got that motive, brother. What's going on, everybody else? We'll do maybe a little bit more roll call, but it seems like Adara's got something important for us because Bitcoin's breaking out. A lot of names are breaking out. Talk to us, Adara.
I have some AI news here with Amazon. AMZN announcing it's going to be investing up to $50 billion to expand AI and supercomputing infrastructure for U.S. government agencies. So again, AI and supercomputing infrastructure for U.S. government agencies. I want to take a look at Palantir. Palantir actually pushing higher here on this news, even though, again, Amazon actually getting to this government space, it looks like, which course, Palantir is known for. I do have an update here, another headline that just came through with regards to this Amazon investment. This investment here, again, up to $50 billion, is going to be adding nearly 1.3 gigawatts of compute capacity across AWS top secret, AWS secret, AWS gov-cloud regions across all classification level. They're going to start breaking ground on said investment in 2026, so next year.
Good stuff. Yeah, thank you very much for that, Adara. And I hope everyone's having a fantastic morning once again. And thank you all for the love. As you can see some volume stepping in. I mean, there's some important stuff that I think that we should talk about because we look at the technicals from a day-to-day basis and we talk about volume quite often. But when do we start actually implementing in what we use? And we try to from a day-to-day standpoint. And that's more or less from a micro standpoint. But when we look at the bigger picture, what can this tell us? And in my opinion, it can tell us a lot. And that's why it led me to the quantum space. It got my eyes on Bitcoin once again and a couple other big time names because they're all the same pattern across the board. Now, I don't want to give it away just yet. So throughout the day, we're going to build this up. I'm going to talk about it continuously. And there goes RGTI, Assassino. Listen, brother, I don't even know what else to say other than, like, let's go. And I was talking about it earlier in the morning. And what I'm going to do right now is display to you guys is from my evening analysis, I had a couple names on my radar. 4 to be exact. And which ones were they? Well, let me show you. Aside from what Milo's got going on over here, because we know we all love Milo, right? Everybody likes a little bit of Milo. But QBTS, RGTI, QuantumCape, and Palantir. Now, what do all of these names have in common? Well, we're going to break it down a little bit later, but first, let's take a look at this chart and see how I specifically managed this one position as we're continuing to climb a lot higher and higher in RGTI. And just like that, we almost hit the dollar club on a $20 name, on a $25 name. So I'm happy to be in this, just going with the flow and listening from what the technicals on a broader space are telling us. Don't make me blush now, Jody. Don't make me blush. But no, I know you're talking about Milo at the end of the day. But no, in all seriousness, guys, it's really important to correlate our daily with our intraday price action at times. But when you have all of these numbers and all of these different pieces of the puzzle starting to fit together, it's just going to add more conviction into your trading and into your potential thesis and your setup. Whether it works or not is a totally different story, but the more pieces of the puzzle that you put together and the more probability in your favor that you continuously add up allows you to put on trades from an intraday standpoint that would work substantially better than you could ever imagine. So again, when we break things down, is it good from going from a higher time frame and then breaking it down to a lower time frame and correlating all of these pieces? Absolutely. We know Obi likes to go from the monthly to the weekly, to the daily, to the 60, to the 30, to the 15, to the 5, and to the 1 minute. And then a touchdown, exactly, there you go, and then it's a touchdown, unless you're the Bills, apparently. I'm only playing.
Whoa.
Now he's coming in. He said, watch it now. Watch it now. But no, in all seriousness, it's really important to break these things down. And sometimes we just get caught up from an intraday standpoint, looking and hyper-focused on what the lower time frames are telling us when we're not focusing on the bigger picture. So, the much anticipated, I've been rambling on for about 10 minutes now. Let's get right into it. I think that's enough because I'm excited to display to you guys exactly what I was going over on the weekend and something that, you know, we sway away from sometimes, but it's really important to just continuously practice, rinse and repeat. And then that's the beauty of trading, is that not every day is the same, but we have identical type price action that we can correlate. Too soon, says Joe. All right, Death God said it. He ruined it. I'm not saying it for another little while now. But other than that, guys, let's continue to look at some things. We'll take a look at the options chain. There's a lot of activity going on, but it's not that complicated. I'm going to continue to build this up because we talk about it on a day-to-day basis. And it starts with a 3-letter, I'm not going to say a word, but all right. As soon as I get the good to go, I'm going to leave it at that. Adara, what do you got for us?
Keep an eye on any of these cannabis plays. Here's MSOS. You could also look at, of course, ACB, TLRY, CGC. There's a lot of different avenues to play this. Either way here, MSOS with a big spike and a volume spike as well, with an outlet reporting that the Trump administration is expected to advance marijuana rescheduling through administrative action in, quote, the near future. So this story is really not saying anything different than anything we've heard with regards to these Trump administration and cannabis legalization stories. Right now, I guess it just sounds like in the near future, there could be an advancement here with regards to marijuana rescheduling actions from the Trump admin. Again, kind of repeating or rehashing here of old headlines, but MSOS really likes it. Back to you.
Oh, okay, yeah, we're back. Beautiful. All right, guys. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I give you just 4 names. And if you guys can tell me what those 4 names have in common from a daily perspective, I might be feeling generous enough to give somebody something. I can't tell you that, though, Neil. But first, I need the right answer. I need the right answer. The question is, are you ready for this, Adara? I'm going to give you 4 tickers. These 4 names have something in common from a daily standpoint in which it led me to be attracted to them this morning for a potential buy. What is that one thing in common that these 4 tickers in the likes of QBTS, RGTI, QuantumCape, and Palantir have in common for me to look at these names and say, hey, are we going to go long today, or are we going to go short? Adara was the first one. Talk to me.
Actually, I think Neil was first, so I'm going to let him go. He was first.
Neil, what do you got?
You didn't see my hand.
I didn't see it. I didn't see the hand. I seen Adara's because she's in the back there. All right, what do you got, brother? Talk to me.
Well, my first, well, I have 2 guesses at this. But the first one is that vastly oversold in the RSI.
Okay.
That's the first one.
Okay.
The second one, I don't know if this is going to be true, but were they all 50%? What? I don't know why I'm turning like.
Yeah, if you can talk.
Were they all at least 50% from their all-time highs or recent highs? Was that also true?
It's very true, but I'm not saying it's necessarily a part of why.
Those are my 2 things I think had in common.
But Palantir is not down.
Oh no, Palantir is not down that much.
So that is incorrect. And we're moving on to Adara.
I think
you're out of the race now, Neil. Okay, Adara, talk to me.
So I looked at these charts. I only looked at the first 2, and I think from the first 2, I actually know the answer.
Okay.
Is it because they had massive bottoming tail candles on the daily chart on Friday?
And we have a winner. Adara is 110% correct. Now, the beauty of it is that correlating a lot of these names, we can look at it from potentially an oversold standpoint. All of them are down double digits, but they have one thing in common from a daily perspective that we look at every day from an intraday standpoint. Now, to add to Neil's point, off to the right, he's definitely on to the right path. A beautiful, beautiful thing is that a lot of them have been oversold. Well, now we have all of these things correlating, and if you continuously see the same thing over and over again, this is essentially what trading is pattern recognition. So let's break it down. I think that was a little bit of fun. Adara nailed it completely. So let's take a look at all of these names. What we're going to do is we're going to slightly adjust what I'm looking at here on today's session. And that's even going to include Bitcoin, guys. Bitcoin started to form a base, which is a beautiful thing. This is what we want to see in the crypto space. Now, if you're asking me, so there's RGTI. I understand why people can be fearful. There's QuantumCape. We're going to throw QuantumCape up here. And then who else do we have? We have RGTI, QBTS, and then we also have Palantir. All right? So let's get this over to a daily so we can correlate. You see where I'm getting at? You see where this is already going? We're in a couple of names already. Oh, what a thing of beauty. And with individuals like Gorev, Los Polios, and a bunch of individuals who are constantly looking for these signals of slowing down, what better signal than a bottoming tail candle, in my opinion? Extremely subjective. But at the end of the day, as I'm doing my analysis over the weekend and running through options activity for you guys, I'm looking at how much from the highs some of these names are down. not necessarily what the RSI is, but what price action is telling me and what the volume profile is also telling me as well too. And when you have all of these things correlating, I can't help myself but start licking my chops and saying, hey, is there a potential buy here? Are we going to look for a potential bounce when we see the likes of QuantumCape? Let's get this here. QuantumCape down 45%. Wow, that is ugly, right? We don't like that whatsoever. It's too bad we can't get this over here. And then we have Rigetti down 50%. We have Palantir down 20%. And we have QBTS down 50% as well too. Well, at some point, we know that Wall Street doesn't like losing too much money, even though we can classify it as a distribution. But still, there's a lot of quants and hedge funds still long. Institutions still long, and they don't want to see these 50% pullbacks without any form of a bounce. And I don't care if it's 1%, 2%, or whatever it may be. These signals are a thing of beauty, in my opinion, and when I see them correlating across the board on multiple names, I can't help myself but look for a long in the morning and in the intraday sessions. Now, let's take a look at Bitcoin, the much anticipated. Michael Knotts was talking about it this morning. The show was talking about it this morning. But let's actually break down the volume profile in which we study from a day-to-day basis. Volume price analysis, the correlation between volume and the price, and what does it tell us? If we're looking at it every day, but we're not utilizing the beautiful prints in which it shows us, then what are we doing? Joe, question, who is Wall Street losing money to? It's everybody. No, I did not. Anyways, so let's get this going, all right? Wall Street will lose money all the time at the end of the day. So there it is. What? That's crazy, Ramin. 9.4, oh, at 9.40 I seen that. All right, that's the polar opposite of how we're feeling. All right, let's get let's get this down. Let's get down to business right now, because I think this can be a really, really big time signal here. Am I going to say we're going to turn around immediately? No, absolutely not. But has the selling started to cool down a little bit? So you should work, yeah, I should work for the shopping channel, apparently. Anyways, I want to focus on trading. Pardon me? Too good? Oh, thank you, Neil. Too good for the shopping channel. So I don't know if that was a dig at whoever said that, Carl Gruen. We'll remember that for sure as I take a sip of my tea. An English, yeah, go ahead.
Someone in the chat just said, people are asking what's going on in the market, is there news? My understanding of, well, whatever, it's just my personal opinion here. Look at what just happened to Nvidia. Nvidia was in a wedge all morning. There you go. So it's easy to see. It just broke the wedge to the upside on Nvidia. Now remember, Nvidia this morning, despite the fact the Nasdaq was going ham, was the weak it was a weak link. It's the best way to put it. So now it's starting to participate and head higher. So I think this is what's happening overall in the market. And I can quickly, this is what I'm looking at next. Hopefully that didn't break anything. So the thing I'm looking for next is a possible trend break in IBIT, because the market continues to break higher, and this is actually threatening to break trend. I'm only looking for trend breaks. And then I went over to Tesla, which I was short off the highs, got some scalp trades in there. It did work to 15s or just underneath 15, got a reload at the high that worked back into 15 again, but eventually blowing out the top. And now it's headed to 420. So a couple of scalps. I mean, initially, the first loss made some of it back with their other recent shorts, but overall, this market seems to want it. But what's interesting, as I said, was it seemed like nothing was really doing until Nvidia decided to join that party. So I think that's going to be the most important thing, at least in the short run here, to see if we get some continuation. Like all eyes on Nvidia in the AM, and it was a complete dud. Now suddenly we're looking at lunchtime with some strength. So holding above the prior highs, as long as we hold on to this, I'd be careful with any shorts that are going to be correlated to the Nasdaq, because Nvidia is going to be leading the charge from here on in, at least for now, as Nvidia is about to break out the high one more time.
Neil, I'm gonna be honest, bro. I forgot I had you here because I was just rambling on. So feel free.
Told you I was gonna stick around.
Feel free to interrupt me, man. I was in the zone, regardless if it's for the shopping channel or not. All right, no, I'm being sarcastic. All right, guys, let's get right back into it and take a look at exactly what I was referring to earlier. Well, now, if we're obviously always looking at the volume and what it's telling us, some days, like the tape, it doesn't tell you much. But when we're looking at it right now, what do we see? And I literally just went over an example of 4 different names. Adara pinpointed it to a precise, exact reason into why I'm looking at those specific names. Now, why would that differ from Bitcoin? Has the selling stopped? I'm not going to say that necessarily. Has it cooled down? I think so. And can we get a bounce? Well, what we've learned from previous history and from pattern recognition, in which we study, I think that we might get a little bit of a bounce here in Bitcoin. Why? Because we have that bottoming tail candle with an isolated volume print. This is the largest volume print that we have seen over the past X amount of months. Do you want to get precise? Since November of 2024, so almost a year ago. This is going to be the largest volume signature that there is. Now, what does this tell us? Well, Joe, yeah, whoa, thank you very much for pointing that out, that it's just a large volume print. Well, what this can potentially tell us is that sellers are exhausted for the near term or maybe even a little bit longer duration. Right now, the exhaustion is most definitely being displayed through that volume print because it is substantially larger. We can classify this as potentially stopping volume. Now, how deep this pullback is going to be completely different. I can't answer that. But can we see a substantial bounce considering we were over $40,000, $46,000 off of the high in Bitcoin. 46,286 if you want to go from peak to trough. Right? 36%, around 36.5%. Now, to add to Michael Noss's point, the Wall Street doesn't like seeing these hefty pullbacks, 40%, 36%, because what does that mean? You're losing money, but at the end of the day, let's see if this specific signal and these prints eventually come to fruition and we get a bounce into 100,000. Now, I'm not saying this is the end of it, of the selling. There might be some more, but we might see a near-term bounce in Bitcoin. But I'm not seeing the exact same thing displayed in Ethereum. Now let's take a look at ETH. Are we getting a bounce? But look at our volume. Yes, we have a little bit of a bottoming tail candle, but the volume isn't as substantial in which we've seen in Bitcoin. So that's where my head is laying in the crypto space and a couple other names, and we're continuously grinding higher and higher, and there goes the move in Bitcoin. So if you want to talk about specific zones and us breaking through, you have the pre-market high, I think that just gives you more conviction that the correlating price between volume and and price action, so the volume bar and price action, can give you a solid entry point. Not necessarily an exit. You want to look for key support and resistance levels from that point. But other than that, I think you have a good opportunity for a potential bounce in some of these names. Adara, what do you got? And Neil, tell us what you got after.
What I have here is some Josh Brown excitement. Looks like he's calling out Agilent and Thermo Fisher as some of his top stocks right now. Of course, both of those in the healthcare space. Here is Agilent not doing too much, but at day's highs. We'll take a look at Thermo Fisher, TMO. This one, not at day's highs, but I mean, kind of chopping around here. So keep an eye on these stocks. Again, Josh Brown putting these on his best stock list. For the record, Agilent is actually reporting earnings later this week as well. So they're an earnings play for this week too. Back to you. Or last.
Yeah, what do you got over there, brother?
Sharif obviously is going to be off, but INHD is halted to the upside. It's like, I don't know how many times it's halted. It's like I don't know, call it at least half a dozen times the stock is halted to set upside. 241 currently is 43 is now the tap. 240 is the current price. So it's not really indicating a crazy high open. The problem with this one is mostly that despite the good liquidity, it was a penny stock before, so it's really easy for it to halt. So it's kind of going from halt to halt, but good volume, good liquidity for anyone else looking at it as well. I also saw AEHL, that just recently halted after breaking the highs up 120%. This is a habitual line stepper. That is, I gotta zoom way in so you can see this. It literally is halted at the 50 period on the daily, just so you have a quick look. And that's the first kind of obvious level since it broke like this 220 level, as it gets to about, what is that, like 270-ish, maybe even 275. So this flushed off that price in October. So it's at a resistance point. So I think this would be better served. If I was trading it, I'd be looking for dip buys, not to buy that top, looking a little bit crazy. Earlier is always better, it feels, with these, if you can get them. But the Nasdaq is going on pretty well here. And remember I said, watch out for what Nvidia is doing? This is the Nasdaq since breaking out that 24.6. It's trying to fill this gap, which has about 100 points to go. As we get up there, there's Nvidia. There's a decent chance that as we get up there, Nvidia is going to start pressing potentially into Friday's highs. And that's where you get a little bit concerned. Can it bust through Friday's highs? As strong as it looks right now on that last push, you are still a few bucks away from even testing that 185 zone. And if the futures fill the gap at the same moment this gets to resistance, I think you could run into at least a little bit of trouble. It would also make sense when you consider Broadcom. Like, Broadcom has absolutely, look, Broadcom's up 10% today. Remember Thursday's highs? Broadcom is there right now. So this is, for me, getting a little bit toppish. And the first place I looked over was something I traded earlier today, was SMCI. What are you doing? Like, I tried shorting it, breaking down. This stock is literally, I mean, it's up 2%. But you have Broadcom filling in the gap. You got Nvidia trying to fill in the gap. This stock doesn't want to do anything. Just rejected that Thursday high. So this is one I want to jump back into for the south side of the trade, just given the weakness it has. And then look at the daily chart. The daily chart speaks for itself. This is just built differently from other chip names. And if the market falters, I think this falters even more than the overall market, just because it's a weak name. So I'm going to try to pick on this one as we get to some highs. Bitcoin refusing to break trend. Clean trend line on IBIT right now. And I'm staring it down looking for that trend break, and the trend break just isn't happening.
Honestly, I'm thinking that it might be strong for the next couple of days.
Could be.
Right?
Really could
and
be.
it kind of just goes back to my whole spiel of correlating price with the volume. And we can see that at that lows, we have that stopping volume, which is substantially larger. This is the largest volume print in which we've seen in the span of over a year, November of 24. Right, so I'm thinking maybe we see a short duration bounce here, maybe even a little bit longer. Has enough liquidity been absorbed? I don't know, but time will tell, right? We might get that bounce. So if we continue to climb, I'll buy back my short calls and allow my 6 calls to remain, to roam freely, essentially, at the end of the day. They're absolutely getting slacked. Full disclosure, I'm down like I shouldn't say a ridiculous amount, but it's not a pretty amount. Yeah, it's not good. But I mean, thank you to call writing just to mitigate that a little bit. What do you got there, brother?
Can't worry about it.
No, I'm not. Well, I mean, obviously,
Trade's a trade, bro.
Like literally, at the end of it, to say I'm not worried about it isn't true, obviously. But am I as worried about it if I didn't know how to write calls against it? Absolutely not. If I just think, oh, I don't know what to do here, blah blah, then I would be in significantly more panic mode. But considering I have a game plan, whether it works or not, I have enough confidence in it. I think we have a pretty good chance that we might see this bounce. So yeah, that's essentially what we got going on. Just continuously writing. And what does that do? That helps you with mitigating your loss. I'm with you. I got in at like 98K mark. Yeah, I mean, I averaged in a little bit, so I have 6 contracts. If you want to look at it from an average price on Bitcoin from 114 to about 103 or something along those lines. And then once it snapped, I'm like, uh-oh. But yeah, sometimes it's just better to get out and get back in, because if I seen what I had right now, then I would just load the boat in the size that I had. But I was like, you know what? I like the potential conviction within it. Unfortunately, it didn't come into play. So I'm like, all right, we have enough time, right? We still have until May, halfway through May, until they expire. So we'll just continuously write. And then eventually, if it comes February or March, if it's not doing what I want, or we haven't seen any form of a significant recovery, then I'm going to get out. Thoughts on NUAI? Yeah, we're going to go over a couple of names momentarily. let's send it over to Adara. We're gonna get some crypto talk, some more crypto talk there, which I think is gonna be interesting.
Now let's take a look here at BTC, because crypto, we know that Joe was talking about these charts here that had those bottoming tail candles on the daily. Bitcoin is actually one of them. So nice bottoming tail candle here on the daily for Bitcoin, coming through on Friday, November 21st, low of 80,500, high here of 87,000. And then what's interesting here too now is these last 2 days here on the daily, so today and then also on Sunday, some resistance here at that 88,000 level. Now 88,000 was also some support that we found here on Wednesday, and then we broke that on Thursday. That really kind of triggered a lot of selling both in Bitcoin and the market as well. So all of this is to say that this 88K level could be a pretty big deal here for Bitcoin. Let's see if we can break it out and continue back higher. We'll take a look at Ethereum as well. Let's see how Ethereum's doing. Ethereum looking kind of similar to Bitcoin. I just want to see here if we've continued this trend that we have with a lot of these names looking identical in the daily chart in the crypto space. Looks like that has continued here. Solana looking identical. We'll take a look here at XRP, also looking identical to these. And we'll take a look at Dogecoin looking the same. So again, these crypto daily charts are all exactly more or less the same here with these bottoming tail candles on Friday and attempts to curl in the subsequent days. Back to Joe featuring Neil.
Ooh, Neil.
Well, I'm chilling here too.
Yeah, you're chilling,
good. Obi will be like a couple of minutes here as the European market literally just closed.
Thank you very much for hanging around there, Neil. Actually,
the thing is, I'm kind of, I'm here anyway.
Yeah, you're here. You're here.
I don't really go anywhere. Like Sean goes to the gym. Like I'll usually get up to like stretch my legs at this time of day. Yeah. But most of the time.
That's right. You go for a little walk there.
Yeah, like I'll go for a couple of walks, but like most of the time I'm gonna be sitting here and just one other thing. We go back to Nvidia because we keep talking about what seems like it's moving the market. That breakout in Nvidia. Here, let me full screen it here just so you can see. Like we are pressing, but if you go, so this is Friday. Like Friday, this was a key price, 182.5. It was kind of the pre-market high, and then it was support for most of the day in Nvidia, and then we lost that support at just before 3 o'clock. So that's looking like resistance. I think we are at least potentially maybe due for like maybe a VWAP test. So a couple of things simultaneously. IBIT is trying to break trend. Tesla's higher trend into 420 is trying to break. So the early trend no good. But since the high opening range break on Tesla, it's also trying to break the trend line. So a couple of things that could turn you for a little bit here are happening. That's why I have the eyeballs on. Only going to make those mean reversion trades. And IBIT, I basically taken every curl on IBIT. It's like, try to buy the dip off VWAP, no good, but then take a trend break good. And really, if I had taken this long off VWAP holding trend, that also would have worked. So looking for this to break, Tesla doing exactly the same thing, potentially Nvidia in the same moment. And if that happens, try to remember, if we do pull back, Friday's high, 24.6 Nasdaq. Thursday's first bounce resistance, 24.6 Nasdaq. That's an obvious place, above VWAP. That's an obvious place for the futures to catch a bid on any kind of a dip. Maybe too obvious, but I think if you short into that, you're probably looking to cover in front of that level. And if you're looking for like reload on longs and we break trend, I think you're waiting for that 24.6 to see if resistance turns into support. So I'm almost into IBIT here. That's about to break in. Tesla doing exactly the same thing. So a little bit of a trend break happening on the future here. I think that brings both of my entries into target. So you just got to stick with it. I mean, ultimately, I feel like you have to figure out what kind of a market it is. And we've been in one where at least I want to say the majority of days in the last 2 weeks, like mean reversions have been crazy because we've been so violent. So if you catch these trend breaks, you can just go from one to the other. And they've just been more profitable than things like breakout trading, which ultimately at the open, it's like you get one shot. If you're on the right side, if you're on Tesla today, great. If you're on Nvidia today, you lose. You know, it's a tricky market for breakouts because the ones that go seem to be the ones that you don't expect. And it's just easier to wait for, if you like a long, let it do some kind of a dip and then catch that curl. If you want to short, you just got to be patient and wait for that kind of perfect entry. There's a super chat in here. I don't know if you want to grab it from Jacka, 2296. There we go. Intel and Lemonade Green and looking pretty strong. Any thoughts on these names? You couldn't pick two different names from Okay, so you got like an insurance company and then you got Intel. No, look, Lemonade, a lot of what happens in Lemonade, just look at the short float. Well, I can tell you with utter certainty that that is a stock that when it squeezes, it can be absolutely gorgeous. This was a pandemic darling as well. The industry, look, the insurance industry is incredibly difficult to crack, and they're the ones that they're like saying all the right things, AI this and revolutionize and bring it online and modernize it. Everything I've understood about the insurance industry suggests that they are not nearly anywhere close to the penetration that they would need, and they still have some concerns with their growth. That said, it's just been in squeeze mode recently. And everything about it's consolidating above the prior high. So it's still kind of in an upward pattern here. I don't think it's much of a chase. As far as today goes, this goes into the category of, well, if you thought for some reason this was going to break out, look how clean that is. But now it's just in this pullback, and the volume's pretty light, but pullback into a prior level and a bit of a trend break. So that's the kind of trade, if it had volume, I'd be all over it. But does it have volume? Not really. I don't think it's not that scalable, but look at that, right? It's like there's your breakout if you happen to like this one for whatever reason as a break, but there's a trend break. Usually I'd be long in here, give it to there, and then ride it higher. But volume's pretty low on that. So for me, it would be a bit of a pass, but it's not a bad setup. Don't get me wrong. Just understand, this is a squeeze name. And pun not intended, I suppose.
Oh, I got that. A good one there, Neil. For sure. You looked at INTC as well.
Oh,
well, yeah, I can take a look at it. No worries there.
Yeah, go ahead.
I also wanted to point this out here as well too. The Jameson mentioned. He said, "Hey Joe, was this a dip buy in STX?" In my opinion, absolutely. If you just eliminate everything else and you're just looking at it from a technical standpoint, I mean, you have a stock that's down off of these highs, 298. Let's see if we can get this percentage metric, 25%. So you hit that bear market territory, and then you form this indecision print right at a key neckline. And this is what we're looking for potential bounces and just correlating everything all together. But let's take a look at INTC, see what this name has been up to. I mean, hey, man, it broke out for a while, and then I haven't looked at it in quite some time, but a nice strong session this morning, $35. I'm sure the boys aren't complaining about that whatsoever. And I mean, it's being sustained, and this isn't it, is it? Is this actually it? Oh, okay. Like, I mean, this isn't horrible. I mean, you go from August to 24, you trade within this range, and then you finally have a breakout that's sustained. So there it is, guys, a nice move. It's still a little bit off of those highs, 15%, which isn't horrible, I guess, if you want to compare it to some other names. And you're holding some key support levels. But as Neil always mentions as well, too, guys, is keep an eye out on some of these shelves. And that's what led me towards, hey, I think that we might see a further breakdown in a couple of names. Now, I mean, this this pullback that we're seeing today is relatively strong, and this is what we want for signals of strength. But at the end of the day, look at this. You break through that neckline, you fill about 30-40% of this gap, and then you get that bounce. And it's going to be the same thing in the likes of NVDA. It's just this shelf being formed. For some reason, I just really don't like this. I'm not going to be surprised if you do break down a little bit more, and 163 would be a hefty pullback considering coming from 212, especially in a name like NVDA. But you're down like 25%. I think this thing gets bought up hand over fist. Me personally, so this morning, I actually bought a little bit more Robinhood. Yes, I did. And then I also bought some Meta in my account as well, too. Well, Joe, why are you buying Meta? Mark Zuck spending all this money. Well, I mean, this stock is a repeat offender of having these hefty pullbacks and then just substantially surpassing them. So you go down 35% off of that previous high. That was obviously the tariff tantrum. You're down 27% at that point, but that's only two examples. Let's go back to here when Meta, for obviously the bear market that we experienced, you go down 77%, but I don't think the sentiment is nearly as negative as it was post-COVID, and I think that's something important to kind of document and take note of. Now, as for the bounce, I'm in around 609 or something along those lines. So I'm not going to catch the bottom, right? That would be ideal, but I'm not going to complain about my price either. Because if we are going to break, I would not be surprised if Meta just, once it blows past this previous pivot high, I think that this name's going to hit at the point to determine where we're like, hey, when is Meta going to split? When is Meta going to split? It's not a matter of if. I think just when, in my opinion. I could be totally wrong. Now over to my hood buy as well too. Indecision print off of the lows. You have that 153. You go down approximately 33% off of those highs. Could there be some more potential downside? Absolutely. That's why I don't go all in at once. Slowly allocate, and then eventually you build into a position. So what I did is I have drastically reduced my exposure to IBIT in my long term. I still have a substantial amount. It's still my largest holding, but I wanted to rotate into a couple other names, which I think is really important. And sure enough, Robinhood, in which has been performing substantially well for me, and Meta, which I believe can perform relatively well. Those are some of the names that I'm going to pick up. And then I'm going to add to my NVDA position, and then we're going to look at buying some of the financials. I think JPM is going to be a solid buy as well, too. So, I mean, as long as we hold up this 300 level, one thing that always worries me is these shelves. You want to see those healthy pullbacks. You want to see it punch through a little bit lower. So with the example in the Qs, which we were talking about last week, is like, okay, you have these moves to previous pivot highs in the pullback, 280, JPM, your boy is a buyer of this specific name. I mean, there's more speculative names that I would like to get involved with, like RR, Rich Tech Robotics, down like an insane amount. But if you go back to November a year ago, this name's like up 8,000%, which is crazy. A year ago today, from the peak, 1,200% is absolutely insane in less than a year, right? Insane in the memory. Oh, let's go. I can tell Obi right off the jump having a solid morning, hopefully. Anyways, 57%, 57.5%. He's going to talk to us about it momentarily. But hey, Rich Tech Robotics, a little chump change, a lottery ticket on this one. Nothing to complain about. And you let that ride for quite some time. But as for RGTI, the steady grind continues. Now, could I be adding on these pullbacks? Absolutely, and should I? Of course we should. But at the end of the day, we're not going to complain about this potential trade. Are we going to catch this fill up here at 25, as we're only a measly 4 pennies away at one point at the bid, but now we're starting to cool down a little bit. Okay, 95, let's focus on it. And then also one thing to note is look at our quote highlights. Where is the imbalance sitting on? Well, it's on the ask, right? So you can see we have a steady ladder to the downside with substantially more size. So if those start to hit the immediate, I like our chances of catching that 25 fill. And after that, guys, I truly don't have much of my position left. But I can't complain. This took 2 entries for me to get going, and with equal size as well, too. I was risking 10 cents to make over $1. So if you want to get serious about it, did I take home a 10-to-1 profit? No, that's not the case. But what I did is hit essentially a 10-to-1 from a risk to reward standpoint. 2410s with a high of around that area as well too. Currently sitting at a 9-to-1, not too bad. 10 cents on the first entry, 10 cents on the second entry, and we were fortunate enough to have that one work for us. Now continuously grind higher, Bitcoin. Continuously. Now, I want to take a look at my short calls and what strike price they are. The 62s, no problem. We got plenty of room to go. Because if you think about it, that's still $13 away from which we're currently trading. Let's take a look at it from a daily perspective and see where I would even have to run into any form of trouble by December 19th, I believe is the expiration cycle, is up here. I'm going to be out of that position substantially before, like way before we get even closer to that neck of the woods. Why? Because I've collected $60 per contract. Those are now trading around $23. Why am I even still holding onto them at this point? I know Bubkus would tell me, hey, Joe, just get rid of them. You've collected 70% or 66% of the premiums. You're absolutely right, my friend. So come the end of the day, we can make a decision to let go of them or not and allow our long 6 calls to continuously roam free and hopefully appreciate and sit on our hands and be patient and then wish that the crypto space has one of those $10,000 sessions overnight heading into the Asian markets. Boom, you climb substantially higher. Next thing you know, you go from 87,000 to 97,000 in the blink of an eye, and you have your contracts covered and it's not allowing them to roam free and collect the amount of premium in which you have lost onto those gains. But other than that, we're 3 pennies away. Rich Tech Robotics putting in a new high of the day. The Q's putting in a new high of the day. QBTS putting in a new high of the day. Palantir putting in a new high of the day. Need I say more? Of course. We got another 2 hours and 15 minutes to continuously rambling on. So that is exactly what we'll be doing, Obi, is rambling on for the next period of time. But, oh, I didn't want to hit the old boy. Are we going to catch this fill? It doesn't want to hit me just yet, but relatively soon I think we'll have the ability to put on some half-decent trades. Obi, what's
going on?
Yes, Unity,
oh, yeah,
and then we'll get you.
We'll get me on it.
And there it is.
There you go.
Yeah, perfect, no problem. And there it is, a fill on RGTI over what we've been going on for the past 45 minutes, just sitting in the trade and letting it work. Obi, talk to us about what you had going on this morning.
How are you doing? Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Neil, for covering for me a little late coming in today for the midday. But you know what? I did trade the open a little bit, man. Apple. We've seen this once, we've seen it twice, and we've seen it once again.
Yeah.
And guess what?
What?
I still can't get it properly.
Oh, no.
It's a work in progress.
What happened?
That reversion came in so beautifully, man, but the chop was absolutely aggressive. I had the top of the reversion. I was like, all right, 275s?
Yeah.
Let's see how far it gets. Prior day high was at 275.50s. Okay, cool. That's nice. Market very strong, and Apple relative strength as well. We saw Apple and Google both pushing very aggressively off of the open. Tesla was crazy as well, right off of the open. That was one of the. Okay, all right. Same. We're there. We go. Matching the sweaters there.
Ron Burgundy.
That's what we're showing there in the two. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, no. You know what? One of my biggest issues. I'm going to talk about this over and over again until I can figure this stuff out. I've been trying.
Yeah.
So I get in the reversion. The reversion's nice. I get a little wary with the chop, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to cover everything right there. 74.80s. Not the trade. Not the trade. Prior bar holds so well. I get my reversion to VWAP, but I'm not in the position anymore.
What's all that at the lows?
So I try to go long.
Oh.
I'm trying to go long now because I'm just like, well, damn, I missed the short, so now I can only take the long. But that's not the case here. Here we get that VWAP continuation, and I'm skewed from my perspective because I'm like, oh man, I missed out on the short. Now it's got to be a long. But no, the short is still on, dude. I had a good trade in my hands. I had a good trade. I waited. I fell into my lap.
I thought those were all covers.
I wish these were covers, man. I closed this position right here, and I came all the way into here. I can kind of blow it up for you guys so you guys can see it a little bit better here. There you go, right here. So entries at on the wicks, right side of the V. I did well to get involved with the right side of the V, but then a little tilty action right here gave some back. Funny enough, I punch out at the lows, and then it ends up going back. So I'm just like, all right, cool, thank you. Come again. Where's the next trade? So that's the only thing I've really done since the morning session. I'm watching Google. Okay, Google with the reversion, so I guess I missed out on that one. All-time highs.
Yeah.
So crazy strength in this market. Can't stop, won't stop today. We saw some selling going into the good chunk of last week, sure, with the Friday bit of a bid, but it seems like we're starting to bid coming into the beginning of the week. So hopefully.
How was MSCI?
It was okay. I don't know. We still have till the end of the day. The closes are still. We got lots of markets on watch today.
I thought it was
well.
The European.
So it's all across the world, right? It's all across the world. It's all sorts of markets quarterly.
Did you take any Europe, or?
Yeah, I tried my hand at it. The thing is, I'm freshly new at it, so I'm still kind of dabbling. I don't know if I see anything too crazy there, but I think in NCSA, in the North American markets, I'm definitely going to be watching the Canadian close today. I'm definitely going to be watching the NYSE and the Nasdaq close for sure. So I've got to save some risk for that. So yeah, MSCI, there's rebalances happening throughout the day, and yeah, pretty big day depending on what you're looking at, and a big day for the market, it would seem as well. It's taken in some of the action from last week, and we're reverting a decent chunk of it on the day today. So 24,900. Maybe that 25 is on the horizon.
Absolutely.
I feel like I've said 25 way too many times.
Yeah.
That 25K mark on the Nasdaq here over the past couple of months, I'd say. But another day where we seem to be magneting back up into that 225, or sometimes we magnet down into it. So interesting stuff. Where's the next trade? That's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm looking for. But like I emphasized before, I think some of the best risk today, I think, it should be saved for maybe some interesting imbalances going into the close. I saw Nvidia on that list.
Oh yeah,
Nvidia's way up on that list as well. Google's up there as well. So we got some mags at the top of the list of some of these imbalances.
I like that because the volume and the notional value will come in substantially higher, so.
And if it shows up on the imbalances, that's confirmation. That's perfect. So let's see. At the end of the day, we don't know. We can see whatever research that we get. We have to see whether or not it actually shows up in the real market, and then we have some confluence there. But yeah, let me know what you guys are trading. I haven't looked at the market in the past. I would say about roughly an hour and a half. So yeah, let's take a look and see what's going on. Market's stupid strong right now, but Google not really showing that kind of sentiment. So let me pull up the Mag 7s and while I pass it over to you. Great trade on RGTI.
Thanks.
Solid. Back into the 25. Beautiful.
Yeah, man. I went on a big spiel on why I showed them everything. I had 4 names on my list that I picked out from last night, just doing TA over the weekend, Obi. It was QBTS, RGTI, QS, and Palantir. And I mean, I think for the majority of them are continuously grinding higher, with the exception of what QuantumCape is up to. And yeah, QuantumCape doing not much. This is ugly price action. I'm glad that we're not trading it. But again, just leading back towards the daily and going over these things, it's still not completely horrible, right? Considering you're getting a bounce there, and hopefully that can be sustained. So we picked up a dollar on this one here. And again, right, like it's like, okay, at the end of the day, I was risking 10 cents. We're up $1 right now. So by no means am I holding the full amount to hit that 10-to-1, but from a risk to reward standpoint, we're still in that neck of the woods. Look at you, says Payco OR, or that's not Payco. I don't know if that's Payco. Yeah, let's take a look at you, Unity. But other than that, guys, I think what's up, my guy, says Sports and Stonks. What's up, brother? I hope everything is going good for you on today's session. We're going to pull up Unity right here, Unity software, and see what's going on. Yeah, so I mean, there it is, right? So you have these massive gap up. I shouldn't say massive, but you have a little bit of a gap up leading into the open, but then you run into liquidity issues. There's the QBTS short coming in. Sorry to just kind of sway away from what we were talking about, but not too bad of a look from an intraday standpoint. We can pull this up from a daily as well, too. And sure enough, off of those April lows, in which we'd like to use it as a potential gauge, you're up 165%, which is substantial. But why am I looking at a potential QBTS? So let's see if we have to order any form of shorts on this one, probably most likely. But look at this inverted print right here, this gravestone doji, shooting star doji, whatever you would like to call it, at an extreme high, closes completely, and then sure enough, you already have that drop lower. So that ship has sailed. I have to wait for a potential pullback on that one. So other than that, guys, we've been sitting in this QBTS since approximately 10 o'clock this morning, a little bit earlier. So not too bad of a look as we continue to climb higher. RGTI up 5.6%, closer to 5.7% on the session, Obi.
Yes, sir. So Google, I have eyes on now. So I missed the reversion. And now maybe potential reversion of the reversion, but it's coming back into the day lows as the market pushes up for some fresh highs as well. So that distinct discrepancy between the market and Google is very interesting to me. Google now being relatively strong overall. It is one of the stronger stocks in the market. But yeah, Nvidia coming back into prior day's highs as well, just a couple dollars away from there. But Tesla, 420. It's about to get higher right now. 420 continuing to push as we see some fresh highs. Last week's high sitting pretty at 428.94. As you can see, that nice little V-shaped recovery where we had a more than 100% reversion back through the opening prices here on Thursday for a nice quadroon continuation next day into 385s. And since then, we've been kind of chopping around all the way right back. So this is the thing with Tesla, man. Some of these legs are absolute strength, both ways, to the upside and to the downside, traversing this whole range. You can see this range sitting in and around 430s. Maybe sellers kind of step in here here on the break of this consolidation, 430s, pull all the way into 380s. And since then, when was that? That was Friday, November 14th. So since then, we've been kind of chopping around for the past couple of weeks in this roughly, what is it, $50 area here, in and around that 400 mark. Another day where we're testing or attempting a push at those highs. Well, guess what? Supply was here on the 13th. Supply was here on the 17th. Supply was here on the 20th. Question becomes, if we travel all the way up here, and if and when this market does slow down, the question I'm going to be asking is, will supply come in just as heavily as it has been over the past couple of weeks? Again, support and resistance, do we see more of the same? Do we see those resistance area or supply area hold? Don't forget, you can draw lines on a chart, but it's never really a specific price in this kind of scenario. You can see supply kind of comes in on the break of the range low. We pull back into those range lows, which now it's support turned into resistance, support turned into resistance. So now I'm asking that same question. We've attempted a push to the bottom of the range lows. Do we come back in and do we find supply again? I have no idea. 420 is going to be interesting, but with this market knocking on the door of that 25K, Joe, we could find maybe some liquidity sitting in and around there, but I have no idea. I'm just going to be waiting and watching. Let me know what you guys are trading, because Google's the only one on watch right now for me. You can see absolute strength coming into the day, but right now poised for a bit of a pullback. And if the market starts to revert underneath 24.9, okay, maybe some potential opportunities for Google through the day lows as well. Amazon already reverted back to VWAP. Softy's kind of grinding to its highs. Yeah, let me know what you guys have in watch. Goodo saying Pan W and Mike DeRider saying CLSK. All right, let's see if that action is any clean, but we'll go through the order here. So what was that first one? Pan W. Now this one had earnings last week. Let's see how this one's doing. Okay, sideways consolidation. Earnings day one. Pretty lackluster in terms of making any sort of a range. That supply came in on the reaction, and we just got more of the same, but no real follow through until day two. Today, still within range of those first 2 days of price action. So I'm not really seeing anything too crazy. Maybe we're looking for that range leg, but I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye out on that one to see how that's going. Tesla's strong. I'm watching that. Again, Tesla seems like it is the most correlated with the market as of right now, and then Microsoft as well, just curling a little bit, grinding back up into its highs. But you can see here as well, maybe we're going to see more of the same. We've seen some selling, consolidation, selling. Is this more consolidation? Are we stair-stepping lower? I did have a bigger picture idea on Microsoft, and that's working out pretty nicely. Unfortunately, I didn't get any puts or sell any calls or get into any shares short for this potential swing trade here, but it's working out nicely nonetheless. Oh, you're going to go to an hourly. No, this one I called out on the weekly meetings just last week. I was like, if this 490 drops on Microsoft, we might get something interesting, because take a look at this, Joe. Cat ears, double top, devil's horns. I don't know what you want to call them. A lot of people have names that insinuate some sort of a bias, but all I see it as is as we had a grinding run. Remember this grinding run we were talking about? And then we exhausted into 550s. We attempt to pull back. We get some relief. We attempt to hold, consolidation, another wipe up into 550s, failure to follow through, and it seems like supply is coming right back in. So right away, I see this 490 low, and I'm like, all right, this could be an indicator for a short-term market move if Microsoft, one of the top constituents in both the Nasdaq and the ES, gives up this multi-month shelf. This is all the way from August, right? So we gave up that shelf. We actually kind of confirmed it by trading below, coming back in, knocking on the door of that support now turned into resistance, and taking a little bit of a leg lower down into 468. So yeah, a bit of a miss on my part, but this could be not over, right? We had this grind for many, many months. We capitulated. We tried and we attempted to go again, and we failed. So the question becomes, all of this chop, where will the support show up? It's kind of noisy all the way down to 421s, maybe even all the way down to 390s to 400s. That's where that bid kind of came in. But I don't know. Maybe I'm looking for too much here. But that pullback, a little bit of a breakdown on the weekly and the monthly chart here on Microsoft. Here's how it looks like on the weekly, so you guys get a better idea. And I was looking at the weekly, and you know I like reversions. Guess what? Look at that beautiful trend on the weekly. That broke trend right there. Maybe trapped some early shorts, and now we're getting that continuation after grabbing some liquidity from the upside with some expanding volume on the breakdown as well. So I like Softy, but that's a bigger picture trade there, and that's been working out day after day pretty nicely. But yeah, that was kind of the idea there. Let me know what you guys are trading. I'm still watching this Google, still kind of trekking along. Nothing too crazy. 420 is still trading on Tesla right now. Still waiting for that to kind of slow down if that kind of comes in. But I got nothing else going on. What do you have going on that RGTI?
Yeah, same thing, man. We're just gonna take a sip of the old English tea, man. We're sitting in some RGTI. I like your analysis there of Microsoft, Obi, because I like our chances for potentially a bounce too. Strong names. Obviously, just from a fundamental standpoint, technically just maybe a little bit overbought, and we've seen that from I think it was a couple quarters ago when it just went on this insane grind higher. And we're like, hey, we all kind of confirmed and agreed that the fact that that price action isn't sustainable. And sure enough, this is when you see those types of pullbacks. But as for RGTI, Obi, I was just going on a spiel essentially earlier in the morning on just the fact of when I was picking through my names, they had my four tickers had one thing in common, right? And that's what led me to them. And Adara got it, hit it to a T. Neil pointed out some great things as well too on that one. It's just the bottoming tail candle in which we're seeing in the likes of Bitcoin, and then also a bunch of other names across the board after experiencing a substantial pullback. So yeah, other than that, did I hear anything from you there, Assassino? Or oh, okay, all right, cool. So yeah, other than that, guys, this is what I'm looking at. I think this might be a grind higher today, as we can see that Bitcoin, we have Unity up here as well too, but there goes the Qs. I think at this point, we're starting to form somewhat of a base up here. I shouldn't say a base, maybe a peak with a consolidation. But if we continuously bounce off of key prior resistance levels and they start acting as support, watch for that next kind of grind, and then eventually things will maybe turn around today. But we can also note that the volume weighted average price is hugging the price action relatively tight. So that can tell me that buyers are substantially in control, as obvious as it may seem on today's session. But there it is, guys. 25.10 is going to be my final out here on RGTI, as we're up 6% now at that point. So without further ado, I bring to you, Obi, there's something that there's a reference I wanted to make, but we're way past it now, so I think there's no point in me saying it until after, maybe I'll say it. But no, it was in regards to the horns, the devil horns and everything. I'll just say it now. I was going to say, do chickens have large talons?
Do chickens have large talons?
Yes.
Depends on who you're comparing. If you're comparing it to an eagle, so no.
For those who know what that is from, please let me know,
I don't know what
and
that
put it
means.
in the chat. But right now, we're going to Happening Now, and then Neil with his lesson of the day. It's from Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, I thought you were going to be making the Office reference there with Jan with the, I guess I'm the devil. Let's take a look here at the Nasdaq, because Nasdaq right now has actually been pretty consolidative over the last half hour. You know, there was that period in late October where the Nasdaq was selling for this whole period from 11 to 12. Right now, just super choppy. And I think what's really interesting here is, let's look at the story of a lot of these tech names today. We had these big pushes to the upside, then kind of pushing lower throughout the rest of the session thus far. Google, a really good example of that. Tesla actually holding up relatively well. But as we kind of saw here with that Nasdaq chart, still pretty choppy. I think a lot of the best moves today have been in some of these health care related plays. We know UNH was super weak this morning despite early strength and actually gapping up here with a lot of these other health insurance names. We do have some report specifically from Politico suggesting that the Trump administration, specifically Donald Trump himself, is considering actually extending some of these ACA subsidies Either way, though, a lot of these tech names either giving up some of their early strength or finding themselves a bit consolidated here. Let's talk earnings because, yes, it is a shortened week, but there is really no shortage of these earnings day one plays. Zoom earnings reporting tonight. Here's a look of what to expect. You can find these earnings previews on X at TTV Research, including the one I just posted. Alibaba, BABA, they report earnings before the bell today or tomorrow. So a lot of these Chinese ADR plays are actually really strong this morning as well. We know the Hang Seng, which is the tech-heavy index in China, they actually had a really strong performance yesterday, closing nearly 2% higher. And Baidu with a lot of strength today after getting an upgrade and a pretty hefty price target increase from 110 all the way to 188 from JP Morgan. In addition to Alibaba, we'll also get Li Auto and NIO reporting this week. Before we send you over to Neil, and which should be an exciting lesson of the day, we'll take a moment to thank our friends at Orogenics, OGEN. Each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the U.S. There's still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE-listed Orogenics, OGEN, is changing that with its first-in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027, Orogenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more. Schedule a meeting today and get your ears ready for Neil and his lesson. Neil, give the people that lesson.
I shall, and you know what? We'll give the assist on this lesson to the fact that we started earlier today because we got a chance, at least Sean and I got a chance to go over some things in the futures that we don't normally do. And that led to something that I think I should have followed a little bit closer because we talked about when the floodgates can open up and when you have a level like this on the Qs, it's very rare that you would see something like this where you have the obvious high from Friday was also the liquidity zone on Thursday when we had that crazy drop. I mean, the first actual and only real bounce off that, I don't know what you want to call it, game-changing reversal, whatever you call it, was nasty. It bounced right to 567 on the Qs, and it was 24.6 on the Nasdaq. Now, quite simply, like breaking out here is like the floodgates have opened up. You bust through, I mean, you get handed the ball, and there's like 10 holes. It feels like there's 10 holes in front of you, and you can pick any one you want. You're going to get a good gain. You're going to get a first down if you're running back, whatever it might be. You know, throw whatever analogy you want to throw into that. But the thing about it is, still have to pick the best hole to go through, which has the best upside. And I think looking back on this, obviously, sometimes you want to consider the stocks that have been beaten up the most and might have the closest correlation. When the stocks have been beaten up the most, have a chance to go up the most, right? Like look at Micron. But the other thing that you got to consider with Micron is look where Micron was relative to its similar setup. Right now, obviously the market was having a huge move to the downside, but Micron had the same two highs. It was about 212 here and about 212 there. But what was different about Micron is it didn't actually need to break out that level. You were holding above that level. So it had a level of relative strength in it going into the open. And we pointed it out, but I didn't really do anything with that. It's a learning experience. Kind of the first time I had seen particularly that setup, or maybe I haven't seen it in a really long time. And I was looking at other chip names, unfortunately for myself. Because when you see the relative strength, it's like, hey, this is busted through resistance. So what happens if the futures play through resistance as well, knowing how much of a gap this has to fill? So what does it, of course, do? It doesn't just give you the clean breakout, because now you can use this prior resistance as your out. It's already support. The futures haven't broken through 24.6 yet, so you can't really use that as anything but a clean break. In this case, you get to use the liquidity zone for the other side of the trade, which would be if it gets under there, I'm out of it. But that gives you all of this range at the open to get long to that potential stop underneath 212. And then the gap fill was almost perfect. It fills the gap right to the obvious spot you'd expect, almost at 225 level. And I'm picking Micron here because, well, Here's Nvidia for you. There's the subsequent resistance on Nvidia. See what I mean? Like 186, 185, those same two levels. Nvidia was underneath that the entire way. AMD did have a pretty solid day, but then look here, not very clean, 215, and then you had the high here at like 209. So you're not getting the same level of confluence as you would on Micron. In Micron, it was almost like bang, bang. That's what you're looking for a level to be able to work off of. It's so perfectly clean, that double top, and unlike the futures, it's holding above that. So when you're working through your list of what trades do I like, what trades don't, which ones set up, sometimes waiting or just go through enough names until you find something potentially perfect. You don't want to, it's not always going to happen, don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, every time you go through and you're like, well, Nvidia doesn't look perfect and AMD doesn't look great, or maybe Intel's not that good. You're going to happen upon a chart like Micron's. But you know what? You're also not going to happen upon something like this if you don't look. So I think a lot of times when we're looking at key levels in the futures, it's kind of easy to point out that 24.6, but what was setting up just like it for a potential break, but was already strong. You had three things going for this. It resembled that futures level, giving you a clean breakout. It was relatively strong, holding above that level. And then on top of that, it was one of the more beaten up names, so it had fallen further than the overall market, so it had more room to rally. It had three really good reasons to maybe look at Micron over an Nvidia or an AMD today. I'm not saying I did, but the point of the lesson of the day isn't to go over like, oh, look at me, this is what worked today. Sometimes it's like, there's that thing that you missed, and why did I miss it if it looks like a very good setup? And is there something about that trade that should have triggered this is an opportunity that I can't afford to miss, and therefore the next time I see that setup I have to have it. And that's what I saw over there in Micron. It was a clean double top, you were consolidating over it. I like support that turns into resistance. It checked every single box, but yet here I didn't trade it. And so I have to answer that why, and that's part of trading. It's not just why did I get into this trade and why did I get out. It can be why was this setup, which looks so seemingly good, something that I wasn't taking. And if I don't have a reason not to, then the next time you hop on board. So Micron, 7% to the upside today. Loved that double top in the futures, but this was the better way to express it over here in Micron. And that's my lesson. Make sure on days when you have time in the pre-market or whatever it might be, whenever you do your prep, run through all of the symbols. Find that perfect setup, or find the best one that you can. Just because maybe over time you do better on AMD and Nvidia, it doesn't mean, or Intel in my particular case, and Intel and SMCI, I have a tendency to get lazy and then just kind of leave it at those four names when I'm looking at chips, instead of extending and seeing the best setup. That's the beauty of the market. There are a million ways that you can express a trade, and there's a lot of stocks out there. And so sometimes being a little bit more patient and thorough is going to help you guys out. So there's your lesson of the day. Good luck. The Nasdaq wanted that 2%. The Nasdaq got it. Let's see what kind of follow through we get.
Sure, thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thank you, Adara and Neil, as always. Neil, the knowledge nugget, that's for sure, man. A lot going on there.
That could be the name of the segment.
The knowledge nugget.
The knowledge nugget with Neil. I like that.
There you go, bang. That's
a good one. That kind of ring.
Adara says it's weird. We'll have to
has a ring to it.
It's a little long. It's lengthy. Some chicken. Oh, my boy wants some chicken nuggets. All right. I feel you on that one. Dude, so Mateo and I were...
Yeah, how was the game?
Yeah,
how was the game?
We lost 6-5. Your boy got 2, I got 2. But I fell on my shoulder, and oh man, I'm like, yeah, the ice isn't as soft as it used to be.
What do you mean?
Obviously, I'm just referring to the getting older.
Yes,
things aren't the same. No, but it was fun. Yesterday morning, Mateo and I playing hockey, for those who don't know. Mateo is an individual that works here as well, too. Yeah, we were up 1-0. I scored the first one. They score back-to-back. I tie it up 2-2. And then sure enough, we ended up losing 6-5. So it was a hell of a game, a lot of fun between Mateo and I. He shut it down back there, so nice work from Mateo. But aside from that, guys, I am short some QBTS. Let's see if we're going to get this to play. Hey, Joe, you're long RGTI and you're short QBTS. Well, look at the difference in entry. So if I'm fortunate enough to get a move back towards the volume-weighted average price, then I think we're going to be doing pretty good. But you can see that this level at 2190 is acting as a pretty solid support level. So as soon as we establish a new high of the day, I'm out. And why am I kind of going oppo against myself right now? Well, look at my entry on RGTI, right? We're in directly at the volume weighted average price, and it just gives us the ability to continuously hold on through this. And I mentioned the space being strong. That doesn't mean we can't get a pullback, but if everything continuously keeps getting bought back up and we can't push through specific levels, that's just going to signify enough strength for me, Obi, to just avoid the short and that retracement back into VWAP. As you can see, RGTI is heading back towards the high of the day, my friend.
Yeah, for sure. Great job, you know, identifying that buying, that reversion, and then the hold of high a day as well. Absolutely solid trade, man. I just have one thing to ask you. If you were to look back at it and find places to get even more in, like where would you want to get more?
This right here, that was not. It's not so funny when you hit your funny bone. Yeah, it's definitely right here, Obi. So when I was watching this, so there was some defense going right there. Right around this 2420 level. So it would push back in, and it was like the VWAP buyers just kept stepping back in, kept stepping back in. But what I was noticing, and what I didn't like in this name, considering it's $24, is that it was flushing like 10 cents at a time. It's like 10 cents up, 10 cents down, which is substantial movement. So it was extremely volatile for my liking, and I was in full size right here as well too. I did piece out about 30 to 40%, and I left the remainder for up here. But at the end of the day, looking back, my addition would have been at 2420s. That would have been the ideal mark for me to double up my size or add some more, as Obi would like to say, inventory into my cachet there and see what we got going on. But other than that, I can't complain about the trade. Yeah,
no, solid trading there. Okay, so I'm getting a little chopped around here on that Nvidia. I did like it for a pullback in, and I think I might be risking a little too tight here. So I'm gonna just got back in, maybe with a little bit less, and giving it somewhat of an appropriate stop here. Let's see if that can potentially come in here. I'm looking for that 182. That 182 kind of, it's been knocking on the door of that 182 as the buying starts to dissipate here on the Nasdaq. So just looking for more of the same, seeing if sellers are actually stepping in. There was some selling here, 183s all the way back down to 182s on Nvidia, but this has been a bid for about, I guess, since about 950, right? 950, and it's about 12.15 as of right now. So just keeping a close eye on it. The market is very, very strong. You can see both the TQs and Nasdaq at their day highs here. Amazon's, you know, kind of pulled back into its opening range highs here as well. Alphabet, Apple, and Microsoft all kind of sideways on their action on the day today, so nothing too crazy here. All right, there's a little bit of a bid there on Nvidia, so it seems like we're trying to step up on that 182. If that's going to be the case, that's fine. I'll be patient and wait for the next trade. Just let that one potentially come in here. Yeah, that 25K, man, we might just be making another run into that 25K mark because we've seen how the Nasdaq has been just pure magneting to it from both ways over the past couple of months here. So strength in the market coming into the beginning of the week. Don't want to fight it too aggressively. Again, I think today for me especially, and for those of you who again are trading at you know, places where you're able to exercise participation in some closing trades today is the MSCI. So something interesting that I did see on some of those early look imbalances was that Nvidia. I mentioned this earlier. Nvidia's up there. Some of the Mag 7s are definitely up there as well. Watching that MSTR as well very closely. A lot of people kind of speculating, you know, some of these. What do you call some of these holdings just dropping their MSTR position just based off of fundamentals? I have no idea. There's 182 halves potentially coming in here on Nvidia, so it does seem like buyers are just going to hold that 182 pretty well. I was looking to take inventory through that 182 for a potential push back into 180, which is confluenced with this kind of consolidation high, a little bit of a VWAP area that's potentially coming in here as well. I want to see if VWAP can get in and around that 180 first, but opening range highs just shy of 181. There goes the market, man. Here's a bid coming into the market at the beginning of this 15-minute candle. Only about 12 minutes left to finish that one, but yeah, beginning of the candle coming in with a pretty strong bid. What are you guys trading on a day like today? I'm curious. Are you guys participating in these longs? So some of the longs off of the open were absolutely aggressive. We talk about the Tesla, the Google, and the Apple. The reversions have not been good on some of them, but pretty decent on others as well. So Apple was one that did a pretty decent reversion, but Tesla, Nvidia have not. Google, I guess you can say that was a pretty decent reversion as well on that one, but it took a little bit of time to come in. Let's take a quick look at what I mean when I say that here. Just going to the 15-minute chart, you can see here we did have a push off of the open. It was nice. We pushed some fresh all-time highs, 318.57s on Google, but you can see chop, 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 and then it decides to break down and give us a little bit of a reversion all the way back down into some of those pre-market range prices here. But yeah, back to VWAP as of right now with this market bid. Got out of that Nvidia. We'll wait and see if that will potentially come in. If it's going to go sideways and chop around inside bars, I don't necessarily want to get involved. What do you got going on for us?
All right, brother. And now for some exciting news out of Canada for the sophisticated traders on the stream. Beta Pro by Global X Canada, Canada's largest provider of leveraged inverse and inverse leveraged ETFs, has just launched 6 new triple leveraged ETFs offering 3x bull and 3x bear exposure to the S&P and TSX 60, semiconductors, and on U.S. Treasuries. Even better, they're offering a special fee rebate, dropping management fees to just 65 basis points until December 31st, 2025. That's coming soon, guys. Plus, the U.S.-focused strategies use currency hedging, offering the potential for pure performance and exposure if you're a tactical, sophisticated trader looking to amplify your performance. Check out betapro.ca 3x daily to learn more. Adara, what do you have for us?
To let you guys know here, we have a date for the PCE release for September. This is, of course, considered the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, and it's set to be released on December 5th. So on December 5th, we are set to get these September PCEs. If I get more info, I'll keep you guys posted. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. There's a lot of people asking us about INHD. This is what I'm seeing right now based off of it. So Inno Digital shares are trading higher after the company signed a memorandum of understanding with Megabyte Solutions to jointly develop applications of Web3 technology. Now, let's take a look at it from a technical perspective and see what we got going on. This name is up substantially this morning, quite a bit. If you're looking at this, was 80 cents. You're now trading up to $3.32 right there. We'll zoom out. Sharif would have been all over this like white on rice. At the end of the day, let's see what we got going on from a 331%. Quick maths right there, guys, on INHD. So not too bad of a look, and thank you for everyone bringing us their attention to that. Maybe we'll get involved. It has gone through multiple halts, so you can see that we have just opened up not too long ago on INHD and continuing to grind higher. If you guys have any questions on the top or anything, please feel free to ask me, and we will get you involved. Joseph, please give any insight. How large should the trades be of the whole capital? 10% per trade, 20% per trade, 30% per trade. My trades are usually too small trades to produce any money. Well, I mean, it depends how many trades you're looking to get in. I think a lot of people have somewhat of a different decision on it. I don't think the percentage size of your portfolio matters necessarily. And we say what you're actually risking. So how much are you willing to risk? And I think that should always fall within 1 to 2%. Now, if you're willing to do that on a larger position, obviously 1 to 2% isn't that much. But again, that's where you want to keep your stop losses at. And I think from a daily perspective, I think 1 to 2% is more than enough if you're going to lose that on a day, because, well, think about it. How many times you have to be wrong consecutively until your account's officially at zero? All right, so there goes QBTS heading towards the high. Let's see if we can hold on to this a little bit longer. Other than that, it is breaking through some resistance zones, and it's a steady grind. But I'm not going to get out too prematurely until we break that previous high. I am not incorrect. And then essentially what's going to happen is whatever loss I take here, and then if I take my last bid out here on RGTI, if it puts in, it just offsets itself. So I essentially just remain where I'm at right now. But that's kind of where I sit, right? I don't care about the actual notional value of the position, more or less how much am I willing to lose. right? And I think that finds around 1 to 2%, I think, is that common denominator. I mean, if you feel gutsy, then by all means you can risk a little bit more. I don't know how you necessarily feel about that, Obi.
Yeah, so on a trading floor or at a firm, you're very likely to have a daily risk limit. So I think a lot of our position sizing, or mine and a lot of traders that I know, they size based off of their daily risk. They're just like, all right, well, if this is a good opportunity, how I like to do it is just take your daily risk and cut it up into percentage points. Just being like, all right, 10% is 1R, one risk unit, and the question becomes, you have to grade your trade. Is the opportunity on the day, how many risk units is that worth for you? So, for example, if you say, I'm going to risk 10% of my daily stop limit on something, that might just be, just like a C plus or like a C trade. But if I really, really like it, maybe I'm risking 2 or 3 risk units, right? If it's like a B plus A, maybe I'm risking closer to 4 to 5, and that's going to determine my sizing on the day. Now, if you're trading from home, I think Joe makes a good point. You want to make it account based, being like, okay, my daily risk limit is 1% of the account. Now you can break that down, being like, all right, if this dollar amount is 1% of my account, and then that's my daily risk limit, I'm risking, let's say, $1 on Nvidia today, and if I want to, and I say it's a B plus trade, and I want to put on 3 to 4 risk units, that's about 30 to 40% of my daily shutdown. On that trade, I want to allocate that risk towards and size accordingly. So that's kind of how I see it there on in terms of like risking and sizing for the day here. So yeah, that's what I got going on there. But yeah, I think we got some business as of right now.
All right.
Okay.
You got it. What are we doing here?
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, I'm ready. Okay. All right. So for too long, trading meant risking your own money or never having enough to start. The fear of losing, that's what kept so many traders on the sidelines. But guess what, guys? That's changing because Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets. With its limited risk trading model, traders use funded capital while Trade the Pool absorbs the downside. This allows traders to focus on what truly matters. That's discipline, consistency, and growth. When you hit the profit target, you keep 70% of the profits. No fear, no barriers, just real opportunity. This is the revolution of limited risk trading powered by Trade the Pool. Visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code now to get 10% off your first evaluation. All right, so yeah, that's my perspective when it comes to kind of putting on some risk. Now, of course, it's always easier said than done, but ideally that's what I'm trying to do on a day-to-day basis. So the biggest thing would be have a daily risk limit, whatever's comfortable for you, that you're okay with losing within a day. It can't be too much, can't be too little. It seems like you're risking too little, which sometimes I have that issue as well. Sometimes I'll take a trade. I'm like, this is really good. I'm not even thinking about how much risk I want to allocate to it. I'm just like, I just know I got to be in, and I just punch in with default size. So it's just like taking that time out and being intentional with the decisions you're making, and yeah, allocating yourself a daily risk limit, I think goes a very, very long way.
Absolutely. I mean, it's that simple. Like if you have a $10,000 account, you risk $100 a day, that can give you 4 trades at 25 bucks, right? So,
and if you have a small account, like then you kind of have to swing, right? That's another thing as well.
Swing heavy.
Yeah, like say your account is only a couple grand, right? Are you gonna really go around risking 1% of that? I don't think so.
No.
It's just like that. So that in that case, you gotta use some discretion. You gotta be like, all right, maybe I don't have a $100,000 account or $500,000 account to be like, I'm gonna risk 1% and actually make a living off of this. But if you have a much smaller account and say that you're within the PDT rule, which is still on, by the way, but if you're within that, then yeah, maybe you want to be more precise with your trades, and maybe just paper trade or not put on that much risk until you have those A+ setups in your playbook. Then you can wait for those, and you can be like, sure, I'm not going to risk too much on a day-to-day basis, but I'm going to keep track of what I think are the best opportunities. And when those opportunities show up, that's a better place to allocate my limited capital, because to me that it just makes more sense for it to be pushed into something where I think is high probability, and I'm willing to lose on that as well. So that's another big part of it as well. Just making sure you're not kind of investing in money that's like your life savings, right? You still want to be able to function and live. So.
Absolutely. There goes the crypto space there, Obi.
Yeah, a little bit of a big.
Yeah, you're seeing a big time pop. I know a lot of individuals in the chat. I'm at a QBTS, by the way, as it put in almost a new high of the day. Still riding that RGTI long. I was looking to see if we can get any form of a pullback. Doesn't seem to be the case. So we take a small paper cut on that one. Still green on the session just due to that QBTS trade. And I still have a little bit of size left. So here it is, guys. You can see Ethereum volume really starting to pick up. This is what we want to be keeping our eye on, and we've been talking about it literally all morning on why specifically we're in certain trades. I did. I kid you not, I did. I bought a little bit more this morning as well, too. I sold half of my position at 53s. I bought a little bit more off of these lows around 48.73, so I'll take that. Same thing with my Robinhood swing. I sold that. I think it was 122 a long time ago. Bought back earlier this morning around 108, 109. So not too bad. A little bit of a discount on those. I'm not gonna catch the bottom or anything along those lines. I could care less to have that that specific level, and some meta as well. So I'm still sitting on some cash, looking to grab a little bit more of the NVDA, and then sure enough, we'll look to see if we can grab some JPM as well too, and then we'll be fully back in with a small amount of cash on hand. Regardless. There goes Ethereum, there goes IBIT. Look at the grind on RGTI. It's just steady up and to the right there, guys. And same with the likes of QBTS. What are some of the other quantum names been up to today? IonQ, how have you been performing? So it's across the board. QUBT, we'll take a look at that one and see what's going on there. QUBT, same thing. So I think today is one of those sessions where you could just close your eyes, throw a dart at the board, and have it successful long. And when we continuously just bid back up, you don't want to fight it until later on in the session, I don't think, because you can see with the likes of QBTS, I mean, obviously you can get that influx of volume to the downside in those aggressive moves, but I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case. The buy programs are in full display today, and every time you run into those pullbacks, it's immediately bought up at key support levels, and sure enough, we're starting to see the volume really kick up in Ethereum. ETHA, from a low of around $21, you're up $1 from that specific level, and then at the low of the day here on IBIT, you're up $1 as well too, so not too bad of a look. There goes the Qs and the SPY. Adara, what do you have for us?
I have a bit of a headline here with regards to Scale AI. Now, this is, of course, going to be of note because of the Meta deal with Scale mostly, but I'm seeing these reports suggesting that Scale AI has lost a U.S. intelligence contract bid to a smaller startup. If I get more details, I'll let you know, but it looks like Scale AI, again, a pretty massive deal with Meta, losing their intelligence contract bid in the U.S. to a smaller startup. If I get more details, I will keep you all apprised as we send you back up to Joe and Obi.
I think that's really important too, considering we just bought a little bit. Let's take a look at what Meta's up to. We have a lot of quantum names up there. Palantir, looking pretty good as well too, Obi. What I was saying is to everybody in the chat, Obi, is just over the weekend, just going through some of the names from a technical standpoint, which led me to the quantum space, AMD and Palantir. It's just these bottoming tail candles, all at extreme lows. These stocks have been down 25% plus across the board, and you can see the same pattern from a daily standpoint in a lot of these names. And with that being said, when you have all of them correlating, you want to look for a long, in my opinion, which it happened to work out today. Some days it won't. But yeah, it just adds more conviction. I mean, there goes into your actual thesis. There goes RGTI. Again, I'm not going to add all the way up here, considering I don't have very much size at the, again, one out. Nothing larger than that. So 25.19, and we're in at 24.08. So we're not going to complain about that whatsoever. How can I join my Disc? Oh, okay, we don't have a Discord here as of yet. Anyways, obviously continuously growing, and things can most definitely change. Who knows what could be in the works, but that, my friend, I can't really tell you that H star. Other than that, find some guys in the chat. It's always good to have the pod on the side, like that Obi has, and just kind of just brainstorming, going through charts, bouncing ideas off each other, and just remaining an open book. And sure enough, you guys can find some pretty good ideas together, and you can grow as a collective unit. Now, as for QBTS, it's starting to come back in. One thing that we haven't done today is gone over the top, the best performing sectors. So let's do that now. Nor have we really looked at the options chain. So there it is, Black Friday. We like that. We're gonna have to use that for our. And nor have we haven't looked at the algo today, but I don't see anything that would be picking up. If I were to go from a daily perspective, but it wasn't designed for that, it'll still pick up some things, but yeah, it's gonna look pretty good. What was I about to pull up here on TradingView? I have no idea, I lost my train of thought, but there's Bitcoin. We may as well take a look at that. A nice bounce off the lows. You're up 10, almost 10, it's 8K from that specific level. Other than that, IREN, let's take a look at that one and see what that's been doing. So there it is, right? From a percentage metric, how much were we down from those highs, from the peak to the trough? 50%, and then now you're starting to get a little bit of bounce off those lows. So not too bad of a look whatsoever. If you're looking to buy now, is there anything? Oh, okay. Oh, I thought something else. But yeah, there goes Ethereum. There goes Bitcoin. I bid almost at $50 in Ethereum. ETHA up at 22 bucks. BM&R has been getting absolutely destroyed. But other than that, Obi, you're still short NVDA. How's that working, brother?
I'm trying it here, just getting a feel for some of this action here. Market's kind of back up at its highs. Apple's pulling back in. That 275 is a little interesting on Apple as well, so I'm watching that. But yeah, Nasdaq's pretty strong here. So yeah, a little bit of a counter trend on Nvidia. The bid has dissipated, relatively speaking, to what was happening over here. But again, it could just be, it could be very, now we're getting very passive with the buying. So we could have just gone through a very active buying phase, and now we're just a very passive buying phase here. So I'm kind of observing what's going on here as it kind of chops around, consolidates in and around these day highs. 183.12s, I have that as a day high as of right now. Google's curling back up, man. So this market pulling back up, maybe with the likes of Google stepping into the bid here as well, or the bid stepping in on Google here as well, as we got a reversion of the reversion on Google as of right now. So we dropped down to 312s from a day high of 318s, and now we're trading all the way back up at 315s and some change right now on Google. You can see Apple here I have up, still kind of, it's been chopping sideways, man, on this 275. Might be an interesting place to look for some, look at the chain there. I know that 275 could definitely be a little bit of an interesting area.
On Apple? Oh,
on
yeah,
Apple,
yeah.
for sure. Yeah, look at this churn, man. Over a couple of hours here, over an hour.
I'm pretty sure I did my option segment on the 275 level.
Okay, beautiful.
Here.
Yeah,
let's double check
makes a lot of sense.
And that's what I was going to pull up. Yeah, see, look, boom. This is what we were talking about this morning, 275 with the open interest and volume. So supply zone, that's correlated. Obi just brought that up, didn't even know what was going on there. Yeah, let's take a look at it right now. We'll take a look at the live options chain to see how that's looking, Obi, and we can take whatever we will from it because the signals are there. So supply zone at 275. Let's see if that's grown. I mean, there it is, 19,100 contracts with 38,600 contracts already open and closed at that specific level. So
okay, so yeah. I mean, a lot of chop, like a lot of churn happening. I can tell, again, just looking at the chart, you can see over the past hour, we've been churning on sustained volume on this name. So yeah, some strong volume being kind of transacted in and around some of these prices. So yeah, right away that points me towards, okay, maybe the options market, maybe there's a buyer or a seller kind of holding it down as well for now. As the market kind of trends to the upside, right? Apple is not necessarily the strongest stock in the market right now. It is relatively just choppy, sideways, nothing too crazy, right? So yeah, that's what I have on watch as of right now. And this Nvidia as well. It seems like this market might be poised to break out through these highs, man. So got to be wary on this one. Like you said, can't be fighting this strength too much. But if and when that selling does come in, you're right, it might be much later in the day there, Joe. So something to watch out for as we take a potential curl on these names, and maybe we push for fresh highs going into 12:30. Wow. Okay, so yeah, middle of the day, and we're still continuing to grind up slowly across the board. Interesting stuff. But maybe it makes sense. Last week, we had aggressive selling back-to-back days, some relief rallies on Fridays for the past couple of weeks, but overall, bigger picture, we've been making lower lows and lower highs, right? So it's just like, all right, not on all names, of course. I'm just generalizing here, but you get what I'm talking about. We had some aggressive selling, especially in the tech sector over the past few weeks, and some buying coming into the Fridays. But this week, maybe distinctly different. I don't know. I'm waiting and watching to see what we have in store. Don't forget, today is the MSCI quarterly rebalances. So at the end of the day could be very, very interesting as well. Again, I saw Nvidia on there. I saw some Google on there as well. So let's see if they actually show up, man. What do you got?
Absolutely. So this is the next chain here, Obi. Just looking at supply zones on NVDA, and we were talking about this before, and that's going to follow us right into that $200 level, 137. And you can see the options market is pricing in that this underlying will not get there by the end of the week. Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, we'll get to that momentarily, but we can see 130. Thank you. All right. WCM Good Tunes 8420. All right. Anyways, long name. Only because I know how much you guys love to talk about it. LOL. Can you take a look at GME breakout coming? Oh yeah, you know we love to talk about GME. There's your supply zone on NVDA. If you were to write anything north of that, it's not even worth it at the end of the day. But I think that's going to be the ceiling for this week in NVDA. Let's pull up GME for our friend there and see what we got going on. And there goes the market. Palantir, new high of the day. RGTI, new high of the day. NVDA, new high of the day. So it's just one of those grinding bids. But enough is enough. Let's pull up GameStop and see what this name has in store for us. And I mean, there it is, guys, like GameStop heading off of these lows. I don't know, $64 over here. You're down 70%. Look what the stock's been doing for an extended period of time. Let's zoom out and head over to a weekly. You're down to $1. You do get that move up there, which is obviously phenomenal. Minting a lot of millionaires, I think at that point, 12,000%. But then also just taking from everybody, as the 300 would like to say, give them nothing, Obi. Take from them everything. Oh, yeah. For those who know what that is. And it seems like that is the case in GME. So she's running BM&R is moving. There goes Ethereum, a new high of the day as well, too. Do we take out our last little bit on RGTI? I mean, we've been sitting in this name since 9:30 approximately, or sorry, 9:57. I didn't take my first trade of the day until 9:54. A couple minutes later at 56 is when we get that one trade that works out for us. Now 7.25 on RGTI, and there goes NVDA up to 183.31. Bitcoin going to touch into $50, so a good dip buy there. So a lot across the board, grinding bid. Palantir 164.57. Let's take a look at this name from a daily and see what we got going on. And hey, it is what it is, and that's what I'm talking about. Obi, I mentioned you earlier in the session how you like to break your time frames down. You go from a monthly to a weekly to a daily to a 60 to a 30 to a 15, and then to the intraday chart patterns in which we look at. It's really important to correlate all of them. Again, obviously, the longer the duration you're looking to go into the trade, obviously, the higher the time frame and interval you would want to look at. Now, 164 is a beautiful bounce, considering we mentioned this before. You're down, I believe, 30-something% or close to 28% in Palantir. There might be something in the market as Bitcoin continues to climb higher. We talked about the volume price analysis and the correlation between the two. Adair, what do you got for us?
We actually have a post here on Truth Social from U.S. President Donald Trump, which could maybe be responsible for some of this push higher. Specifically, if you look at these Chinese ADRs, here's FXI. Big push here in this 15-minute candle and decent relative volume increase as well. Trump announcing on Truth Social that he just had, quote, a very good telephone call with President Xi of China. He talked about some of the things they discussed. He also said here that their relationship with China is, quote, extremely strong. And he also said that since their, quote, highly successful meeting in South Korea 3 weeks ago, there's actually been progress from both sides here with the U.S. and China. Now, Trump said that apparently President Xi invited him to visit Beijing in April. He accepted that visit and said that President Xi will be Trump's guest for a state visit in the U.S., quote, later in the year. It's unclear if he means 2025 or more likely 2026, anytime after April. But if I get more details, I'll let you know. Either way, Trump announcing that his call with Xi, which was previously reported by Chinese state media, went well. And it looks like he and Xi are going to visit each other's countries next year. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Adair. Much important information as always. And you're getting a lot of love today, including from myself on the purple. The purple looks really, really well. So yeah, not too bad of a look. RGTI up 7.5% on this session. Do we take it all the way? Do we take it off all the way up here? I like our chances. I mean, we don't want to get overly greedy considering I don't have much size left either. I knew we were going to get into the top performing sectors. That's what I was going to do, and it just took me a minute to sway away from that and then head back towards that level. So, as for RGTI, is it our time to get out of this? A beautiful bounce, going with the thesis, 7.5%. Do we part ways? Or do we continuously hold and look for a potential dip buy and then maybe an addition? But you can see how shallow all of these moves were. Obi was asking me, which is a fantastic question, in which I believed was the best opportunity to get involved, to add more shares. The more we look at it, it's most definitely here and here, in my opinion, and maybe even in this consolidation off of those lows. But there it goes, RGTI, now almost up 8% on today's session. Phenomenal, phenomenal stuff, and that's exactly what he liked. Mr. Brian Collins. My RGTI calls are printing, my friend. I love to hear that. What strike price do you have? Because we're going to take a look at it. That's what we love to do. RGTI, what is the at-the-money IV? Oh, and something that is really important is that I've seen somebody mention something about Hood. Hood is up 3%. Why isn't my contract working? Why aren't I up 3% in my contract? Well, we're going to get to that. But the at-the-money IV in RGTI is still substantially higher. Maybe from a relative standpoint, not too high in this name, but I'm going to send it over to Obi, and then we're going to get down to the mechanics on why you can see your underlying asset trade higher and your options contract essentially do nothing and potentially lose money. What fun is that? Well, you have to understand the mechanics of each individual Greek and how they affect those contracts. But Obi, what do you got going on right now?
Yeah, man, I can't wait for that. I still have sometimes trouble like wrapping my head around all those funny letters there for sure. So it gets a little confusing. But yeah, I can't wait for that lesson there, Joe. Market continues to push higher, man. This 25K magnet, man, I keep calling it out, and I'm playing against it here. I'm just like, all right, well, where does supply come in here? And it seems like we're just, like Joe said, we're just grinding to the upside, both on the Nasdaq and the ES. It seems like today's the day to, just get long and stay strong here, as we've only been catching buys since the open. So no real relief at all here across the board here. So yeah, Nvidia continuing to push higher here as well. 180 was an interesting level in Blue Ocean last night. I don't know if you were getting involved at all, but that 180 held like a champ. And off of the open today, I was just like, all right, that 180 might be a bit of an over-under potentially level here for me. And I was watching that, didn't really get involved, but you can see here, once we did reclaim that 180, we're kind of off to the races here. So I think in the overnight session, there was attempts to sell off below 180. Didn't really come in that well, and then we bid off pretty aggressive. It was pretty much a held bid for a majority of the night there, and that was good. That interesting piece of information. Didn't really trade it, but I did take it with me into the morning session. But I guess didn't really do much on it. You can see here 80 over under definitely worked well. Let's see if 80 prints again. If that's going to be an area of interest, the question becomes: do we come back into an area where, there was definitely a lot of churn happening, a lot of liquidity kind of potentially in that area. But 183s. If we push up into 25K on the day today, Joe, then I think that 185s maybe well within range. Maybe we could see some fresh highs on Google as well. Tesla is still holding relatively strong, man. Tesla is the strongest of the bunch as of right now, still holding its own. So Don't know what's going on with this one, but a bit of a reversion of some of prior week's action, it would seem, coming in all at once in one day here. We talk about, sometimes traders say you take the escalator up and the elevator down. It seems like Tesla just chooses to take whichever up or down. It doesn't really care. Sometimes it takes the elevator, sometimes it takes the escalator, sometimes it just jumps off the third floor. You don't really know what this one can do. You can see that kind of action coming in prior Thursday as well here on Tesla. So that's what I'm waiting for. Like I said before, on Tesla, it's coming up into an area zone of supply from last week. I don't know if sellers are going to step in, but I'm waiting and I'm watching and I'm stalking the stock to see if sellers do kind of show up there. No real break of trend as of right now, though, Joe. You got that set up on that RGTI? Sorry, you were going to talk about the options.
Thank you for reminding me. Absolutely. Someone already gave away the answer already, so we're going to pull up Robinhood. Well, there's multiple factors that can come into play here. Let's get over onto my options chain. And it can be extremely frustrating. So the way that I like to look at options trading is essentially we can look at it as a supercharged stock. So you're driving the average car, and you know what? The beta on it is essentially a 1-to-1. But then you decide to hop into this Ferrari with all these different components that you're not used to in your typical Honda. You have the super speed, just the handling and everything is substantially different. But if you think about it, the mechanics are relatively the same, right? You're still using your steering wheel, it's green to go, et cetera, et cetera. This may not be the best analogy, but at the end of the day, what I'm getting at is options are just a supercharged version of an underlying stock. Now, when you say, hey, okay, well, how come I'm losing on this contract, but my underlying is steadily appreciating, but I'm not making as much money if I were to own the shares in itself? Well, there's a couple things that can come into factor. One, someone mentioned it in the chat, is your implied volatility. And two, is going to be your theta decay or your time decay. These are major components in options trading, and that's where you get the price in which it's derived from, all right? So if you're buying a options contract in heightened volatility, the chances of this heightened volatility are in bearish sentiment, okay? Because what happens with the VIX when the VIX starts to go up? The market is typically going down. You have that inverse correlation. So essentially what I'm getting at here is that if you're buying options contract in heightened implied volatility, and then sure enough, you're buying these long calls, but what you want is the volatility to actually cool down. So what happens is that you buy these contracts, and what the options premium is derived from is a part of your theta, your intrinsic value, your extrinsic value, and the implied volatility. So when you're buying them, you get an increase in premium. So that's telling us there's a lot of demand, but when things start to cool down and the volatility starts to cool down, that's when you start to lose value of that contract in just volatility decay. And let alone the fact that you have theta as well too, which is inevitable. Time decay is inevitable regardless of what's happening. So you have an underlying asset like in Robinhood that's up 3%, but your options contract is flat. Well, when did you buy it is the real question. Did you buy it in heightened volatility? And then how much time did you give yourself in that specific contract? Because the nearer dated that you are to the expiration cycle, the faster theta can accelerate. And that is not good for your contract whatsoever. So when I talk about buying options, it's time, and then a little bit more time, because you want to use the leverage product in the manner as if you were owning the shares. And if you want to own them for significantly longer, then obviously the time is going to want to be backing that contract. And then that's where a lot of traders fall into trouble, is because they're buying contracts in heightened volatility, and one, they're not buying enough time, so by the time the thesis actually starts to work out, they've lost a lot of the intrinsic value of the extrinsic value of the contract, which is time, and then the decay in volatility. Now, a lot of fancy words, it may seem relatively complex, but the more you get comfortable with it, the more understanding that you'll have is that I want to see at the money IB. This is why we talk about it in the mornings when we go over the call of the day, because it's extremely important. And then also the effect of theta on that contract. And that's why I will always buy something out 6 months plus. Because if I run into trouble like I had with my IBIT calls and I only had a month of expiration, well, all of that money would have been down the drain and there's absolutely nothing that I can do about it. Except for close them, realize the loss, which may not be good whatsoever, and then roll those contracts out to a further date. But if you don't have that option, no pun intended, then you have to buy that time and be willing to do so. So keep an eye out. Yeah, pun intended, exactly. Pun intended. So essentially, the narrative of the story is if you see your stock up 3% and your contract hasn't changed whatsoever, it's most likely due to the theta decay and the decay in implied volatility. So keep an eye out on those things. And that's why we talk about looking for contracts in relatively cool and calm, volatile moments, Obi.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Yeah, no, I definitely need to be taking notes for that here. While Joe was talking, we've gotten more of the same. So if you guys are watching TQs here, 51's pushing in, 669s on the spider. Are we going to see 670s today? I'm waiting for those to potentially come in here. Alphabet continuing to push up here as well. Let's take a quick look at the tech sector today. What is strong? AMD, another name that's just grinding to the upside. That's the case with a lot of semiconductors today. You just pull up SMH and you don't need to look any further, and that action is definitely kind of represented by that ETF here. So yeah, in terms of other stocks, TSM, Micron as well, pushing to the highs there. Intel relatively strong, still holding up its highs there. Once we broke out of that consolidation from those lows, 20s, in the low 20s, we've still been holding pretty well here. Currently trading at 36s is Intel, so that's holding up nicely. Nvidia is still kind of chopping and churning around this 183, so just watching that one for now, see if that potentially comes in here. This market continuing to take another leg higher, ARM fresh highs as well. I don't know if you guys are watching that one. Nothing too crazy, just part of my tech basket here on the day. When it comes to names in play, I did mention strategy earlier this morning here. So strategy, let's see what that is up to. MSTR, mister. Let's see. Okay, still within range, still kind of chopping around within prior day's range is what I mean, and maybe within range of the intraday move as well, because it's only doing about 0.6, 0.7 relative volume on the day as of right now on strategy. Another name that was pretty interesting, a lot of kind of buzz going around in the Twitterverse about potential delisting off of MSCI rebalances across the world, where MSTR may not be something they're really looking to hold anymore. But yeah, it should be interesting. I don't know. We'll see. But let me know in the chat. You guys not really mentioning too many stocks right now. Let's see what you guys. Okay, I guess I can scroll up here and take a look at what you guys have been talking about. Poet moving strong. All right, so let's see Poet. Now that's a stock I haven't heard of in a while. Does this do any volume here? Okay, so 3.24 million shares traded on a day. Not any significant relative volume as of right now, but seems like an interesting move. So shout out to you. NSXT saying not so great, but watching it. Okay, let's take a quick look. I'm down to look at something too. Okay, no real volume on this one to really get me interested. Meta saying a Rune Warrior. Okay, let's take a quick look at Meta. Okay, Meta is relatively strong as well. There goes Google. So we were talking about Google with a potential turn there. There it comes all the way back into potential high a day there. 316.60s is the current traded price, and the high a days are sitting at just above 318 halves at 57. So let's see if Google can kind of push back up. Google has had some absolute strength, and when you take a look at the higher time frame, we finally pushed up into 300. We're finally getting some fresh highs on Google, and it's showing some relative strength when it would seem just a couple months ago, maybe not as strong as some of these other Mag 7s. Another name here as well showing some strength and breaking out of this consolidation is Apple. So Apple, look at that. Beautiful consolidation, holding. This is a 15-minute chart, guys. Look at this consolidation. Opening range, very beautiful. I loved the reversion. I kind of messed up the reversion here, a little bit tilted, or was a little bit tilted about that, and made some bad decisions in and around VWAP, trying to chase a move that's not really there, because I missed the move that was there. But you know what? 275s, look at this. 15-minute open, sorry, 15-minute close and then 15-minute second bar open as well. Look at that consolidation for the past couple of hours, just chop, 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 but holding that area nonetheless, and now potentially getting another push to the upside on Apple. Let's see if we can take out that 275.90, because that was some aggressive selling that did come in when it did, and I did get involved. Look at that grinding selling after this first opening bid, and then a nice reversion to 273s. It's the same thing that's been happening on this name over and over again. I just got to do better at taking it. You know what? Sometimes when something happens way too often, I'm just like, is it really going to do that again? Is it really going to do that again? I start like kind of doubting myself. But at the end of the day, who cares? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I think. At the end of the day, if you just look at a 5-minute chart, look at the prior bar hold. I just got to be like, okay, I like this. I like these entries. Now I'm just going to risk to a 5-minute prior bar high. That doesn't get taken out till 273s. If I want to say 15-minute, I want to risk a 15-minute prior bar high after I see sellers. That doesn't get taken out till I guess a little bit higher, 273.3s. But I like to trade on the 3-minute chart, and look how beautiful this 3-minute chart held. You get in on the signal. Sure, you're not getting in on the chart. You get in on the signal, 275 60s. I like that area. That's what I got involved with right here in the morning session. And then switch to a time frame, switch to a 5-minute or a 3-minute. And if you just say simply, I'm not going to look at the chop on the tape anymore. I like where I entered and it's working for me and I'm giving it the risk. I can just trail on a 3-minute. That 3-minute doesn't really get violated till all the way down here, 273.60s, below VWAP. There's no way, I can be holding through a lot of chop if I'm not just kind of taking a step back and being like, all right, I'm not looking at the tape anymore. Now I've gotten in on the tape. I'm just going to take a step back now and let the price action get me out. The price action doesn't get you out till below VWAP. So a bit of a mistrade on my part. But this consolidation is very, very interesting after we've reclaimed and held within this upper quartile of action for, let's measure for how long? For over 2 hours roughly now on a name like Apple. So very, very interesting. We did see this wick shimmy action at about 11.50 where we have sellers attempt to push through 74 halves and gets bid up right away, showing us that sentiment that along with the rest of the market, Apple maybe showed some weakness, but look at this consolidation. Buyers are definitely here on the day on Apple, churning that 275 and rightfully so. Joe pointed out that options chain that has a lot of interest on those 275s. So yeah, churning out some volume in and around those 275s, looking good as the market attempts to push that 25K once again, Sean, 25K reversion. If you're swinging, you're just looking to take inventory right back into the 25K, no matter how far we extend off of it. I feel like that's been the trade over the past past months or so, at least past few weeks for sure. But that's what I got going on. Nvidia finally pulling back. Let's see if we can hold back, pull back into this 182. This 182, a bit of a held bid here earlier. I know there's some wick shimmy action there. Not really seeing it too clearly, but I'll show you guys what I mean here on NVDA as we pull that up. You can see here, look at these holds of that 182. These are 3-minute candles. It's pretty much a wall, guys. We attempt to push lower, and buyers were just coming in, swiping every time for an attempt at highs, but maybe potentially we've false broken those highs. Let's see if the market pulls back. I have no idea, but that 25K could be interesting, or we could do absolutely nothing with it and slice through it like butter, right? So I'm just waiting, watching, being patient. What do you got going on? I see you're still cooking on that RGTI.
I'm all out. I'm all out now. Yeah, we caught the top. We were fortunate enough to get out at the top here. Katina, man, check out this RGTI up here. Pow, beautiful trade. Pow, 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 pow. Bang. Awesome. Yeah, no. Super chat, thank you. David, face slapper. Yeah, for sure. Normally wait later for Dave's face plant. Shark fertilizer trade. This guy, I love this guy. Tesla gives up this move. I can't hold 420. All right. Are you short? Dave, I don't know. Let's see what Tesla's been up to. I don't know why I have GME on my chart, but we'll take a look at Tesla. I mean, that's a nice little bounce off of those lows. 420. I don't know if we're going to break through that. We could obviously take a look at the options chain. You can see that we are consolidating. I just don't think it's the same phase in which Apple is going through. So let's pull that up to see. Let's see if we can find anything correlating with that. Obi with Tesla. We'll take a look at it as soon as we get back from Adara.
Let's talk about a different Mag 7 name here, Microsoft MSFT. This one's going to be in watch. The company unveiling its first agentic small language model built for computer use. It's apparently called Farah 7B. It's now live on Microsoft Foundry and Hugging Face. It's also been integrated here with Magnetic UI. So again, Microsoft announcing the launch here or unveiling this Farah 7B, its first agentic small language model built for computer use. I want to remind you guys as well, we do have that two-year auction. The yield here prior to the auction, 3.489%. We just got the actual results coming in here at 3.489%. So auction exactly in line with the prior yield right for the auction. Back to you two.
For that, Adara. Now, Obi,
yes, sir.
Without looking at the options chain on my screen here.
I'm not looking.
Now, we know that a lot of people are fan favorites of a specific level on Tesla. What level would that be? And would it be a yes or no to it potentially being a supply zone?
420.
420, bang, we're off to a great start.
I don't even need to look.
Supply zone, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, he's got 2 for 2 on that one there. Obi, nice work, brother. Volume 76,200 with 14,300 contracts still currently open. And you can see that we're steadily grinding higher and higher, but struggling a little bit around that 420 level. Now, David, if we break through that, where is that next call wall? I'm not really seeing anything right now. So there might be a little bit more free roaming in Tesla if we have the ability to break and hold through that 420 level. You can see that we're steadily grinding higher. And look at the rejections on multiple occasions. 420.50, you come back in. 420.51, you come back in. What is this level? 420. Yeah, exactly. So again, multiple touches at that 420 level with the inability to break, but you push higher right into that supply zone where things are starting to cool down a little bit. Now, here comes the crypto space coming in a little bit as well, too. Was talking with Travman in the chat, and who had Party P had the NVDA leaps that expire in more than 2 years from now.
Nice.
What a great job, man. Put up that money, and hopefully that works for you. But Obi, what I'm about to do right now is send it off to you while I reload on a coffee.
Okay, all right.
You want anything?
No, I'm good, man. I got my Coffee right here,
right.
Chilling. But I was gonna say, yeah, those. I was gonna say something about what you were talking about right now with those options there, but it'll come back to me here. But again, market not really reacting to some of those. That auction there as expected, still grinding to the upside here, watching Nvidia very, very closely as, the market kind of pushing up higher, but it's kind of just kind of consolidating within this range here, just trapped between this 183 and 182 as of right now. But if you look around, there are some stocks that are distinctly different. Apple is pushing for its highs. I'm watching that as well. Look at that, absolute strength now breaking through this consolidation high. Looking like that 276 high of day is well within range. So if this market continues to bid up, maybe that's potentially on the horizon there. And on the horizon as well, we've been talking about this a couple of times now. Google still holding its bid. So it's still continuation there happening on the goggles. Let's take a quick look at this one, GOOGL. So look at that, grinding bid, man. You can just draw a simple trend line here. Let's just draw a simple trend line and look at what happens on the break of the simple trend line. Even if you do this one, you can even get a little fancy with it and be like, I want to get in on the lower high because I think that's where sellers confirm. This is confirmation, and look at that. Then that can give you a little bit of a tighter line as well. So definitely maybe some potential opportunities here. VWAP as well. Reclaim of some of these prior highs has been good so far. It seems like, Joe, it's just a buyer on Google that just continues to take us up higher and higher. And now we're only about $1 away from the high of day on Google. Now, Google has been aggressively strong over the past couple of weeks. Even though we've been getting sideways chop, take a look at some of this action when it does come in. Aggressive buying in the opening session. Look at this, aggressive buying in the middle of the day, aggressive buying in the opening session, aggressive buying in the after hours. So it's just like, over time, this thing has just been kind of trekking along, getting those aggressive buys, and when it sells off, it kind of just like bleeds out there as well. So on the weekly, this is how that action's kind of panning out. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful strength here on Google as it looks to trade even higher here. So beautiful reversion here, 200 breakout. Seems like it was just yesterday on Google, and now we're about $120 higher. This 260 was nice as well. I remember when this consolidation broke out, and just back to back, just stair-stepping up, accelerating. Look at this. I would say a little bit of sustained volume, but expanding volume on the push up into 320s now on Google. Absolute strength. You know what's crazy, man? Everyone's trying to buy, and everyone's trying to figure out where the next, multi-runner is. Oh, I'm trying to buy this. I'm trying to buy this speculative asset. I'm trying to buy this, that, and the other. Guess what? If you bought Google, if you bought Nvidia, if you bought any of the market leaders, you're sitting pretty. If you bought Meta, take a look at the recovery Meta's been doing, right? Meta's recovery on the weekly has been absolutely solid all the way from 2023. Sure, we've been selling off pretty aggressively over the past few weeks, but I'm saying take a look at where it's at relative to where we were in 2023. So absolute strength. Again, if you take a look at this action here, this action here, Joe, is in my textbook. When I look back, 50 years from now, hopefully still healthy and trading, I'm just going to be like, this is a textbook V-shaped recovery on the multi-month, multi-year chart.
You say 50 years from now, you're still going to be trading?
Why not? I'm still involved. What do you mean? Till the day I die.
You're going to be...
Till the day I die.
Brother, listen, we're going to get into this. You're going to be 83 at that time, 50 years from now. 83.
Do you know who Warren Buffett is?
Of course I do.
Do you know who Munger is? If I'm looking up to some of those guys, as idols, like, dude, what do you mean?
Fair enough.
You got to play the game. You're in it to win it. You got to play the game.
Triple H.
There is no other option.
Fair enough, brother. You got me on the Warren Buffett. If I was Warren, though, I would have been done a long, long time ago, just chilling on my multiple yachts on that one. But yeah, I mean, the winner at heart. Yeah, I mean, by all means, man, very valid point. Warren Buffett still. I mean, that's what we were actually talking about it on the weekend. You got to keep going anyways. Yeah. It's always
the game's going to change for you, obviously. Yeah. Like the asset classes that you're involved with is going to change. But ideally, I still I love markets. I would definitely don't see myself not being involved with markets in one way or another. But yeah, no, I think it's just no doubt about it. I think that's
people said you're Warren G.
Warren G?
Yeah, you know who Warren G is?
Yeah, of course. What do you mean? Yeah. There's that song, Warren G and oh, come on.
Snoop Dogg, right?
No.
Warren G and Snoop Dogg?
No, not Snoop Dogg. Neil knows what I'm talking about. Is it Snow? I think it's Snow, right?
Snow.
Oh my God, I know this song.
Like Hamilton Snow?
No. Yep.
Oh, the regular.
I'm trying to. The melody's in my brain, man. I don't even know. Okay.
Oh, Neil's got the hand mic on. He's ready.
Neil's holding the mic.
Oh, that mic don't work. That doesn't work, brother.
That mic does not work, Neil. No, it doesn't work. I'm being told that doesn't work. But Neil may be coming in. But you know what? Oh my God. You know it's gonna come to me. I'm just blanking out right now. It's just Joe might know.
I don't know. The only one I know is Warren G and.
Warren G and Snoop Dogg?
Yeah.
What song is that?
Snoop Dogg in the house tonight.
Okay, maybe. Yeah. That's not the one I'm talking about. That's not the one.
Obi.
It'll come back to me.
Obi.
I don't know.
The Regulator?
Informer. There we go.
But
it's Regulators. It is Regulators.
No. Informer. Someone.
That's what you're looking for. It's Regulators. Rest in peace, Nate Dogg. And do we want 3% today? We've been talking about 2% being that number on the Nasdaq, but do we get 3% on the Nasdaq today? What do you guys think, everybody in the chat? Because there hasn't been much holding us back here. And 2.6 on the Nasdaq, trying to get to 3. Yeah, regulators mount up along with all the buyers today. Got to be able to get that.
Damn.
Yes, that's what it was.
8% on RGTI.
That song's such a vibe.
Someone said Shaba ranks. It's just crazy.
Shaba ranks. Yeah, that's another craziness here. Let's see what else people. REP Nate Dogg. Yes, for sure. Let's see. Digital Underground. Okay, I don't know. All right, cool. Yeah, no, that was Regulate was the song that I was thinking of. You know, it's funny. Again, very visual person. I'm seeing the music video,
but you're not.
I'm not remembering the name. I'm remembering some of the tones of the music because I'm like, you know, very I would say tonally inept. So I can't really replicate what's going on in my mind either. But yes, Regulate. Snow was Informer. Yes, that's
Snow is Informer.
Yeah.
It's Informer. Yeah, I mean, this guy is crazy.
That was a vibe for sure.
You know M.R?
MR? No.
M.R. His name's M.R. He's the English guy who he has the Jamaican accent.
No.
You never heard that guy? No. That's what Snow is.
Yeah.
You know that guy. Snow is the Canadian version of M.R, but only of 20 years ago. You know what's funny? So when I was in, I think I was in like grade 9 at the time, and they used to have these like dances on like Friday and Saturday night called Cosmic Chaos.
Okay.
So anyways, Snow comes to the high school to perform at Cosmic Chaos.
Nice.
Right? And I didn't have anything for him to sign, so I had this D12 hat on, like Eminem D12, and I got him to sign my D12 hat.
No.
Yeah, which is
oh man.
No. I mean, look at this market continuously grinding higher.
Apple broke out of the highs.
Did Apple break out here? Let's pull up Apple on our daily chart and see what we going on. Twinings tea? Yes, I am drinking Twinings tea. How did you know? Oh, I guess you must have seen from the tab in there. The English breakfast is what I have got going on. As for Apple, what a big time breakout. The volume is starting to pick up on the lower time frames. Obi, you're now up 1 3/4. Something's going on here with Apple as you're heading towards some key resistance levels, and there goes the overall market being dragged up along with it. Let's get it on some different charts here, guys. Never mind what Ethereum or anything's up to. AAPL has to be the story right now as the volume on the 5-minute time frame is starting to accelerate as well too. This is some big time moves as we start to approach a new all-time high. I said this a long time ago. Watch out for the likes of Apple and Amazon. They are lagging their peers in that race to the all-time high. I think Amazon's a fantastic buy down here at 225, considering we were just trading up at 260. We might get involved in a little bit of that. But as for back to AAPL, can't stop, won't stop. April lows, you're now up 60%. Let's go, Adair, what do you have for us?
Yeah, here's a Microsoft, because we do have a ChatGPT related piece of news, not supermarket movement, I think worth noting nonetheless here. OpenAI introducing a shopping research feature in ChatGPT. It's going to start rolling out today on mobile and web for all logged in users, regardless of your plan. This will also be available in ChatGPT Pulse. If I find out more details about what this feature is going to offer, I will keep you all posted. Back to you.
Yeah, Mike P, no wobblies. The day before game time, Mike P, no wobblies, brother. No wobblies. You can't be having wobblies on Sunday when you know you got to come in here the next day and perform. It's unacceptable, my friend, and we will not have that around.
You mean was it like
beers?
Drinking?
No beers on Sunday. We have to come in here and you have to perform on Monday morning. Yes. All right?
No, that's
don't try. I'm sick of hearing I'll try. Just do it. Don't make it that complicated, all right? No, but there goes RGTI now 25.57. Obi, we're out of this trade. Looking for that next potential opportunity. Someone says they can't catch a reversion because there is none in the market right now. You want to wait for things to cool down. And I think that's going to be in the latter half if you do get somewhat of a pullback in towards the volume weighted average price being one of the primary targets. But I think that might come a little bit later on in the day.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, that's what I'm waiting for as well, right? Sure, I'm dabbling around in some Nvidia, but Apple just broke high today, right? I'm just like, okay, well, one of the leaders is pushing higher. I'm watching this Nvidia again, I would say relative weakness-ish right now with respect to what's been going on, but that buying can step right back in as well on Nvidia. But Google catching maybe some selling here as well. The market got all the way up to, what is this, 49.50s here, 24.950s here on the Nasdaq. So about $50 away from that 25K mark. as of right now. Maybe a little bit of a pullback. Is this a false break of Apple day high in an area where it's shown us some supply to be there multiple times over the past couple of weeks? I have no idea. I'm just waiting and watching. I would like to get involved with the reversion. I don't know who said that specifically in the chat, but that's what I'm waiting for. If you guys see anything that is potentially part of your reversion playbook, you guys see me sit here and take reversions all the time. I'm sure you're familiar with the kind of stuff I like to look at. And again, just looking at things that are trending aggressively, things that are overextended to the upside or to the downside, having your own definition of what that means, having your own definition of what you think is a strong trend versus a weak trend, and then getting involved with the right kind of stuff there as well. But yeah, where is the reversion? I'm looking for a reversion on Nvidia. Has it ticked all my boxes? Absolutely not. So, but it has ticked some boxes, so I'm just waiting and watching for it to potentially come in. I know my timing is definitely off for this one, but I'm just being patient to see if and when that potentially comes in. 182 was a held bid for over about, what is this time? Over about 30 minutes. 182 was a held bid for over 30 minutes, and we're pulling right back into it. My question becomes, how many stops get taken out if we start trading below that 182? With a strong market? I'm sure there was a lot of longs that came in and were like, all right, this market is continuing, 182 is holding, 182 buyer, of course I want to risk against that guy. Guess what? I don't know, but maybe their stops might be sitting somewhere, I would say maybe some percentage points underneath that 182. That's potentially coming in right now. Let's see if that buyer steps in again at that 182. Nvidia, let me pull up the book here for you guys because things are getting a little bit interesting. And I'm going to put up a size filter as well to see if there's any sort of significant size, only about a dime away from that 182. Let's see if it actually ends up being fine. What do you got? What do you got?
Oh yeah, I was just looking at something there.
Oh, where it is?
Oh boy, yeah. Let's see if we can get that working there for you, Obi. I'm gonna take Palantir off of the old chart ski. There it goes. Robinhood back up to 113. Happy we grabbed a little bit more. Katina man, grabbed a little more hood this morning, a little more, and some meta as well too off of these lows. Just a little dabble, you know what I mean? It's in the LT, so there's no long. We'll hold this for quite some time. There's no specific timeline on that one. So let's see if we can get a nice bounce in some of these names. I mean, we sold Robinhood. We told you guys at 122. Pick it up about $12, $13 cheaper. I'm happy with that. And then I think we're going to get a pretty nice discount on Meta as well, too, guys. Let's see. Just took a short on the Q, says Charlie. Oh, I know Charlie. I know you're looking to short this market. I think it's really important to note, so I did take one attempt on the short side today, and that one didn't work out for me, and I'm happy to have gotten out of it. So this was the QBTS potential trade, and you can see that when I got out, it pulls back a little bit, but then the volume steps in, and then you establish a new high of the day, and that's exactly why I was happy to get out 50 cents lower than what you traded on that high. And it's the exact same thing. It's like, I'm going to be patient. So what we're going to do is, Charlie, I don't know if you do this, but when I'm short the Nasdaq, this is what I want to do here. So we have Apple. We're going to put Meta up here. We're going to put Amazon over here, right? And then we have Tesla up here. We're going to put NVDA over here. And then we're going to also put MSFT, right? And I don't even have Google up here. We can probably replace one of these names, maybe Tesla with Google, because it's more heavily weighted. Now, if you're short the TQs, and by all means, obviously, I want this trade to work, but when you see the Mag 7 doing what they're doing right now, is that a short? My answer is going to be no. You have Apple putting in a new high of the day. You have Google continuously grinding higher. You have NVDA hovering around its high of the day. You have Microsoft hovering as well, too, so no selling. And then you have Meta climbing higher as well. And then look at Amazon starting to lag. But what if it starts to play catch up? What is that going to do to the Nasdaq? So for me, when I'm shorting the Qs, I think it's really important to keep an eye on the heavily weighted, the most heavily weighted, and see where that's going to. Okay, I'm not I'm not trying to make you feel bad whatsoever. I talk about this literally every time. And I've ran into this mistake on countless occasions when it's like, okay, yeah, I'm short the Nasdaq, but Apple's grinding. I'm short the Nasdaq, but Google's grinding higher, et cetera, et cetera. I just want you, obviously, to have the highest level of success, nor do I want to talk you out of the trade, but I think that's a question that needs to be asked. What is the group doing? What is the market doing as a collective group? Is it selling, or is it continuously grinding higher? And with that being said, is that adding more probability in your favor if you have all of these names essentially working against you? My answer is going to be no. And I fell into that realm on countless occasions, and I'm just relaying to you from what I've learned from my mistakes, so you guys can, I'm not saying it's a mistake, that's not what I'm getting at, but I think it's just important to look at those and take multiple things into consideration, Obi.
Oh, 100%, man. Yeah. That's why I love having multiple charts across the board. So even amongst all of that noise, like I'm trying to do better at picking up at nuances that do differentiate things that are definitely moving together, right? And then just like, all right, cool. And those nuances matter, I think, the most. I would say, especially when you're looking at things that move, you know, as a herd, as a pack. It's kind of like a hunting. It's kind of like a hunting reference, right? If I'm going hunting, and I'm hunting for Mag 7. Let's call it a pack of wolves, right? Or, well, I don't want to go hunting for a pack of wolves. Whatever, a pack of rabbits. I don't know, whatever. Doesn't matter. Does it make more sense to me to try and go for the one that I think is the most fit on the day, or does it make more sense for me to try and go for the hunt to look for the weakest in the pack? Right? I mean, you see this behavior when it comes to apex predators in the savannah. When you have the hunt, when lions kind of go on their hunt, they go hunting for oxen or bison or whatever, and they pick off the weak. Right? They pick off the weak because they think it's the easy hunt for them. So at the end of the day, yeah, you're hunting oxen, you're hunting stocks, you're hunting maybe for the short when everything is going up, but the nuance definitely matters. You got to find the ones that actually kind of give you a better probability of the win overall in that kind of a sense. But yeah, no, definitely, I love that. I love that analogy there because it kind of goes back to how I like to think as well. You gotta think like a hunter sometimes, right?
You are, absolutely.
You eat what you kill in this business, so that'll tell you right away that like what kind of game we're playing. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as for the volume, Lewis, absolutely. No, Sug, I am Batman. No, I'm obviously joking. So there it is. That just reminded me of one of the Conor McGregor memes where he's just like looking into the camera. And it's like when your doctor tells you that you're not Batman, and he's just looking at him with the McGregor eyes. But I mean, as for the volume by time is really important to note, not volume by price. Volume by time profile just says it's cool. So it might just be a steady grind in which we're experiencing, right? So nothing substantial. It's just nice average volume. Now, as for Apple, you can see that there's a little bit of selling pressure coming in this 5-minute print. We'll see how this closes. Just keep an eye out on Amazon as well, too, because if it wants to play catch-up, which I don't think it's, again, I could be totally wrong, we'll just draw our basic trend lines. And we'll pull up there on Amazon, and I think this is going to be fully in play. Yeah, Lewis and Charlie, obviously, I know you guys know what you're doing. We've been in countless things together. Charlie, you've been doing fantastic on your shorts as of late because you've been telling me, and I've seen some of the shorts coming into play. So continue with the good work, and same with you, Luis Martinez. I know you and I used to play at Tesla back in the day quite often together. So keep up whatever you guys are doing. You seem to be doing the right thing. Now, price starting to compress in Amazon. You can see that we have these consistent lower highs. But with that flat bottom base, I think this is more or less just a whipsaw move, a liquidity grab. But what you want to do is focus on when the volume is going to come in. And I mean, if we are going to sell, this is what I'm talking about. I could be totally wrong, but you want to keep an eye on certain things. It can happen. And I mean, we're starting to head towards that 2 o'clock hour, so you can see things start to cool off. And if everything's correlating, then I think you're going to be in a good position for that short. And maybe if it gets more aggressive, we'll head right back into the volume-weighted average price. I think that's going to be your primary target with any form of questioning. Now, to note, Adara told us, hey, Joe, I know what's correlating between all you and the picks that you brought us this morning was the bottoming tail, but now we have a topping tail candle here on Apple. If this is sustained, we don't have the same isolated volume print, which I think is extremely important to note, but we're at an extreme high. We have that close as a genuine print, a complete close, no buying pressure whatsoever on this specific candle. It pushes price right back down to close as a complete hammer, and then sure enough, We breached it to the low side. Let's see how we react around this specific candle. And as long as we don't breach this level at 276.52, in which Obi and I displayed a potential supply zone, maybe you get the hedge fund stepping in, and then sure enough, oh, okay, all right, that freaked me out. Sure enough, maybe you can get that move back into VWAP, Obi.
Yeah, back into VWAP is exactly what I'm looking for here. So Amazon is just turning at VWAP. Good point out on that. Amazon seems like Softy might be turning here as well. Nvidia pulling back into that 182 mark as well. Let's see, 182.15 was that prior wick low. Let's see if we can take that out. If we can take out the 15s, then we can take out the holes. And I think the ultimate low of that consolidation is sitting at 98s, 181.98s. And there might be a prior consolidation as well at 181.60, so about a 30-penny range from this consolidation to the low of this consolidation. I'm curious to know, if the market even takes a little bit of a pullback, what do we do when we test some of those supports that we're holding in the day for over about 30 minutes? That's the question. I'm looking for, I'll be honest, I'm like, all right, if people are long off of that level, I'm looking for them to hit the stops on the way down, on the way back below that 182, and I'm going to be looking for that kind of action to confirm that it's potentially there in between that 181.60s and 181.90s. But yeah, with this market, you can see the market's not really pulling back that aggressive. Right? We are not that aggressive in that aggressive of a pullback, but Nvidia hasn't been able to make some fresh highs, and it's been pretty much sideways now since about 12 o'clock, and we're coming into about 1:30. So over about an hour and a half, we've attempted to push the highs with the market absolutely strong, and we cannot hold. So that 182 level hold was a great trade. But, you know, I'm just looking to see if that can potentially come in here as well. Google back into an area of supply. Look at Apple. Apple's pulling back in here as well. 276.5 and some change is the high there. Here comes 182. There's some size there. That's why I threw up that filter on before. 182, nothing too crazy of in terms of size, but this still relative difference. We didn't really see that kind of a size show up earlier. So let's see if that kind of holds and pushes in with any sort of distinction as of right now. 182 is potentially coming in. Let's see. I'm looking for the bid to get absolutely wiped when we break through that 182. I'm looking for continuation to follow through when we break through that 182. Some of the best trades happen right away. There's that 182, that cracks right away. 182, chop, chop, chop. There's the next dime, 181.80s. Let's see if we can get down to those 60s coming in. This is the area. Are they hitting their stops? I don't know. The market's pulling back a little bit. The gates of hell, Sean, definitely have opened, and I'm seeing blood red on the tape. Let's see if those longs have now turned into sellers. Support and resistance, Sean. Shout out to you, man. Best of the best.
Yeah, I mean, there goes. Nice trade there. Way to stick to your guns there, Obi, on NVDA as you catch a nice little move to the downside there. And that's what I'm talking about, guys. I could be totally wrong, but you just want to correlate as many things as you possibly can, putting favor in, probability in your favor. All right, so if there's anything specific that you guys would like to go over, please put it in the chat and we will do so. We can take a look at some of the index options here as well too. Let's pull up the SPY for those who don't have. I know a lot of us do. Oh, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's put a poll up, Assassino. How's that? Just for fun, right? It's Monday morning. We want to get things going. It's going to be a very simple poll. Do you trade options? Yes or no? It doesn't get any more simplistic than that, guys. If we can get that up there, Assassino. Been short for 60 minutes, watching things go higher, finally going back down. Yeah, beautiful stuff. And you want to see this move sustain. And this is what I'm talking about, correlating everything together, right? We were grinding higher. Now all of these names are starting to come back in a little bit. You have Google coming back in, double top right here at 318. Microsoft coming in as well too. But the Nasdaq's still holding up relatively well. Apple starting to sell as well. So keep that in mind. You want everything to be as much correlating as possible. No, wait for the poll. We're waiting for Assassino. I know that you got, a lot of us do, a lot of us don't. Pretty much only, but we're gonna wait for the poll and we're gonna do something even more fun as we're waiting for Assassino. We can get that up. Do you trade options, yes or no? Done, that's it. But what we are going to do to get more people engaged is before I look, I want to see what our likes are potentially at here. 5,000 of you watching. I see 16 likes. What in the days is that? I'm gonna refresh this. We gotta get that to at least 10%. 450. All right, let's get that to 1,000. Let's see if we can get that to 1,000. Just do us a solid. Hit the like and subscribe. Yes, options trade. We can get the vote in, but poll is up. The poll is up. Let's see a lot of options activity. I only trade mostly options. Only options. A lot of people saying that, hell yeah, not trading options is not an option.
You have the option to like and subscribe.
Because if you're going to be in this from a day-to-day standpoint, you need to learn how to hedge. You need to learn how these vehicles affect the overall market. My guy has been short buy since Friday, and he's going to get cooked. Who's my guy, my friend? You never know. Anything can happen. But we're going to do something substantially more fun and get people riled up in the chat, because I want to see what your favorite handheld device is. It's either the iPhone or the Samsung and Android. Put it in the chat. I even want to see Neil and Sean going in there, iPhone or Samsung, whatever it may be. Option sucks is Nit Romana. Okay, iPhone. Xiaomi, that's an interesting one. Options rock, says Darcy. Get those iPhones. I'm going to vote one more time, iPhone or Samsung, guys. And then after, we're going to get some more things to go on and get you guys a little bit more engaged. As we only have 27 minutes left, Apple says Jacques. All right, Google phone Pixel is also option. Huawei says Young Lies 629. Nice work. No Apple products for me ever, says JC Coleone. Very interesting. Very interesting. Keep getting those in. Get engaged. Hit that like and subscribe. And I hope everyone's having a fantastic time on this Monday as we are getting the rally in which a lot of people were anticipating and are happy for. Motorola flip phone, says Front Porch Trader. Nice work. If only the times were as simplistic as the flip phone days. Next to very little social media with the likes of, I think it was MySpace, which I never had before, and some other things that I would have no idea. MSN Messenger, for those who remember MSN. Those are going to be my 90s kids and friends, and maybe in the 80s, but shout out to MSN. And going straight to MSN chat and Messenger after school was done, and watching people log in and having all of that type of fun.
On MSN Messenger. I remember my MSN Messenger name had like a bunch of
like when you put your status on.
Yeah, the status on the MSN. I was just saying, sorry, I was muted. But you know, MSN Messenger, my name would have all of these things. You know, like just emojis and like specific dates and stuff like that. You know, it was some funny, great times.
Nudging.
You know, people would put their you know, their relationship anniversary dates in there with the hearts. And the flowers.
It's like your name.
Your girlfriend's name or whatever.
I used to remember that. What I found out in my MSN days, obviously, is that I could always be first. Or you would how people used to see that to make sure you're online, you'd log out, log back in.
Yeah, exactly. It was like.
So my trick is that to be on the top of everybody's list is that you space bar all the way to the end of where you can type in your status or whatever it is, and then put an exclamation mark and then your name, and that way I would be at the top of everyone's list.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
That was it.
Strategies.
We'll
be right back.
Is that funny?
We'll be right back from Adara.
Exactly. Adara, what you got going on?
Yeah, truthfully, guys, it's been kind of a light session for intraday news catalysts or any kind of, Trump streams, which means I've had a lot of time to make infographics. So check out X at TTV Research. I have a whole bunch scheduled to post tonight. Got a whole slew ready for tomorrow. But for right now, I just shared, in honor here of the move in Oscar Health and these other health insurance plays, here's a look at UNH's quarterly sales from Q1 2020 all the way to Q3 25. You can find this on X at TTV Research. As always, tag me in our chat at Adara LePage if you have any ideas for infographics you'd like to see, and I'll try my best to accommodate them when I have time, because I've got a pretty busy posting schedule trying to bring you guys all the research content you need. Back to you.
All right, whenever you're ready, just saying, exactly, Lois. Good stuff. New traders, listen up. First month free. That's right. We're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform, it's everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, Game-changing charts, predict with backtesting, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips. All in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading. Scan the QR code or check the link in the description. And there it goes. Talking about a strong market. Bid right back up. NVDA is still holding off, though. There will be no move back into those highs. But Apple starting to grind higher once again and dragging the Nasdaq up with it. Nice work on the NVDA trades.
Thank you, thank you. So I got out of most of it and I left on a little bit of a runner. Now I'm kind of massaging back into it as we chop and churn this 182. Like I said, that initial push, I was expecting it to go right away, but the market didn't really do that either. So I'm just like, all right, this might take some time. But I did see what I wanted to see, which was that wipe into the bid, just like people just hitting the bid, getting out of positions, just panic sell, whatever. You saw that quick teleport of 15 pennies as soon as we broke that 181. So I was like, all right, I'll cover some here. The market is strong. We kind of broke. This could be a false break, but I'm gonna be posted. So I got covers on some of those wick lows there, and then now I'm kind of delving back in with a little bit lighter size to see if we actually crack this 182, and the market does take a pullback. VWAP is now above 180, so the average participant long is sitting with an average of above 180 now. So I like that. We finally kind of came into that. So now maybe the reversion a little bit better, coming into the mean price of pretty much majority of, I would say at least half of the people there, or half of the longs on the day, participants. Because not all of them are people. Some of them are algos, some of them are whatever, just market participants. But here we go, a little bit of fresh lows there. Glad I reloaded on the pushback through that 182. As this comes in now, let's see if there's any real follow through. This is the moment of truth, right? We did violate the level. We saw some aggressive selling. We rebid, we balanced a little bit. We couldn't get to fresh highs, and we're continuing this downtrend that we've been on. So I'm glad I continued to stick with this. And here's 181.70. So there's the next quarter. Remember I said that area, 181.60s to 181.70s. And where do I get 181.60s? Well, if you look at a 1 minute chart, this consolidation low from about 11:30 to about 12 o'clock, 11:45 is about 15 minutes, was that 60s area. So now even less of a consolidation low in that morning happened in and around here. So we've taken out these levels right here, 182s, taken out some of those guys. Let's see if we can take out these guys down here, 181.60s, anybody who's risking from there, then 181s, and then maybe VWAP as well, because the trade at the end of the day is reversion to VWAP. Now, all iterations of reversions are not going to be pretty and clean and look absolutely beautiful on a chart. Some of them are going to be difficult. Some of them are going to be choppy and churny. Some of them are going to trade against you before they actually work for you. It's not always the timing's not always going to be perfect. But again, that's the case with the reversions sometimes, man. It's just like that's what I'm trying to build, right? I'm trying to build that playbook of just being like, all right, cool. I like reversions. I want to know every single iteration of reversions, because at the end of the day, I want to be the reversion man.
The reversion man.
That's the idea there. So we'll see. Lofty goals, but definitely within range, I'll say, if I'm definitely grinding it out here. But a lot of work to do, nowhere near where I want to be. But yeah, no solid reversions today other than that Apple trade, man. And I've definitely fumbled that Apple trade. So I'm just kind of, just thinking about this and being like, I really do have to perform better on this trade, because it works right away. 275 halves, it gives you $2 while the rest of the market is aggressively strong as well. So something to be wary about. It's just like, what are the trades that work for you, and how are you aggressively and effectively sizing into them? There's some aggressive selling stepping right back into the bid. Nice. Here we go. Can we print below those 181.60s? Now the question becomes, you've heard me say, can we hold the quarter, print the half? Now, can we break the half and print the quarter is what I'm asking right now. 181.50s. It's a little bit of midday madness. While the rest of the market kind of chops around, we see Nvidia taking out some prior levels, because I guess, you know what? Sometimes players can be a little impatient. They can be like, oh my God, the market's bidding. Why isn't Nvidia the market leader going? Nothing is making sense to me. I don't know. I don't know either, man. I'm trying to answer that question, but at the end of the day, I don't really care. I'm just trying to listen to what the market is telling me. So hopefully Every day we get a little bit better at achieving that goal. Here's 181 halves, 181 60s, taking out some of those levels from before. Are the buyers going to step back in here now? I don't know. Right? We got from that level, we got from level to level intraday, not really that far of levels, but VWAP is what I'm looking for here. VWAP now currently on this chart sitting at about 180 quarters. It's about $1.50 away. Where's the other VWAP here? Yeah, 180 19s-ish. But I think something to be wary about before VWAP as well that might hold a little bit more significance, I'm going to have to wait and see if that's going to be the case, is that opening range high, Joe, and that's sitting right below 181s. 180.85s is where that's sitting at. So going to be patient for that to potentially come in. I'll be a little bit nimble here and see if we can hold and sustain below this 181. Like I said, I've identified some of those levels, 90s, 60s, and then VWAP as well. Let's see if we can play around with some of those levels as the market looks to maybe come back in. I don't know. This second 15-minute candle, look, when the market's towering up like this, 2.5%. We're trading above 2.5% here on the Nasdaq and above 1.5% here on the ES as well. So very, very strong market. Bit of a reversion from last week, Joe. So can't be fighting the trend too hard. But if sellers are going to step right back in, and they've been aggressive over the past couple of weeks, I do want to stay involved unless and until that significantly changes. I thought it changed this morning, but I guess not all around. Don't know. Still the beginning of the week, right?
Yeah, very early in the week there.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, let's see what. Yeah, I mean, here's UXRP. Someone said XRP moving higher. There's UXRP down 77% off of that high in July of 2025. I don't know. Again, we'll just do it for visual effect one more time. 77%. This is 2x leverage though, right? 20% of my crypto portfolio is in XRP. Yeah, I mean, from this high, you got to take into consideration. So you're down about 36, 37% in the actual underlying. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's tough, man. It's not easy. It's not easy. But Bitcoin's down the exact same thing, right? If we take a look at IBIT, it's down substantially off of those highs. This is the prints that we're talking about, man. We have to go all the way back. Wow. This is the largest, and I kind of forgot about this. So this is the largest volume print in IBIT since inception.
Boom. Look at that.
Friday's print, the largest. Oh, nice. It's selling more there for you. It'll be a nice move to the downside.
No, I'm saying, look at that on IBIT.
The volume
that's
print,
crazy,
right?
Man.
Like, I mean, there's only so many ways we can look at it, whether it be right or wrong. And I'm looking at that as potential stopping volume. Like, all right, let's see if we can get a little bit of a breath. Now, I think the next target can be around 59. I know that's $10 from here, but it's nothing for Bitcoin to put in a couple of solid sessions. Now, the real Washman, what does it mean that VIX futures almost back under 20? Yeah, very good question. Well, what that can tell us is that the VIX is essentially the fear index. The higher the VIX is, the more fear in the market. The lower the VIX is, the less fear, and we know when there's not that much fear in the market, people are typically buying things. So when you have that cool off in the VIX, you see a session like today. So it's essentially an inverse correlation between the volatility index, the VIX, and the overall market. Let's pull it up and let's do our little correlation. We're gonna go to a higher time frame here. That's going to be the 15-minute, so we can get a little bit better of a picture. And then we're gonna head over to our VIX index. If it allows me to, God willing. I don't know what is up with this there, Obi. What? I don't get it. Why do you gotta be like that sometimes? Why you gotta be so rude? Why is it coming over here? Come on, don't do this to me. Oh, here it is. There we go. So let's pull this up here. We'll just do a little swappy swap right there and see what we got going on. So you can see right now, we'll head over to the 15-minute time frame so we can see it a little bit better. But 15-minute time frame, VIX go down, market go up. VIX go up, market go down. So that's what we're like. Who is it? All right, XRP, my average is down 30%. This is not a trading position. No, yeah, fair enough. We'll take that. And the real Watchman, hopefully that helped you out a little bit. Mara waking up. Wake up. Shout out to Alexis on Fire and Company. We can pull up, I think we can actually pull up XRP, Bitwise XRP ETF. Yeah, let's pull that up there and see what we got going on. How much is this thing worth? $24, continuing to climb higher. But no, hopefully that answered your question. It's just typically an inverse correlation. You had the VIX all the way up to $27. And I think at some point, I don't know if now is going to be the time, but VIX puts, very, very common trade, right? So you let the VIX pop, and it's just a repeat offender. You run right into this resistance zone of almost $28. You're buying those VIX puts up here. Boom, sure enough. So if you have the hands to sit through this, you get the VIX up to 60. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. You look to fade that because you head right back towards the mean. So I appreciate, yeah, anytime, Jam. So you only need 2 stocks from today till year end, Nvidia REN, and okay, enough of that. Your computer needs more juice, apparently. What does it mean? Okay, so yeah, a lot of things. Hi, Joe, been working on a lot, going on vacation soon. Did you show up to work this past Friday? I know that you were missing. Glad to see you. Okay, broski. Keep it simple for me. Yeah, brother, I've been here every day, man. I was here on Friday. I was here the whole week. The only times I really take off. Hey, Jameson, wow. Wow. Wow, the Jameson. How did you know that? I'm going to send it off to you. I'm just going to leave it at that there, Obi.
That VIX chart is something you definitely have to keep an eye out for.
Absolutely,
yeah, exactly.
Man.
We talk about, you know, what is the best kind of reversion? It's not even stocks. Volatility reverts with higher probability almost always. You can see that on the chart. It almost always happens.
Exactly.
And we got that push up into the 30s, and then pulling back in and kind of consolidating. But that wind up was definitely there though. But yeah, no, I think with this market kind of here, I'm being patient. Right? I'm being patient. I got involved with the one stock that I wanted to. I'm watching and stalking Apple here as well. Some aggressive supply that did come in here in around 276s, but this is absolute strength, man. Kind of sellers is just being met with buying, even though that consolidation is holding pretty well here. So yeah, that's what I'm watching. Let me know in the chat, what are you guys watching, man? I'm not looking at anything else other than the Mag 7 right now. So I know for a fact that there's other things that are happening in the market that I am for sure missing. So I'd like to know what they are. And that's the beautiful thing to have you guys here as a community. So don't forget to like and subscribe so we can keep bringing you more value, keep bringing you more information, and we can together as a community take a look and have eyes on over 5,000 stocks in this market, right? There's no way one man can have all that power, you know? It's not.
I didn't even repeat it one more time.
I'm like, there's no way only one of us can observe over 5,000 stocks in the market. There's no way one man can have all that power.
Ooh.
That's why as a community.
Ooh. I like that. I like that. And sometimes I was just writing to Jameson in the chat. I could tell that this guy's a Dallas Green fan right off the get because I just gave codes to a song that 99% of people wouldn't know, and he picked it out. And then I was just telling him, dude, I still have my physical copies of Bring Me Your Love and Sometimes. And there's it's some of my favorite albums. So I be watching NVDA Friends, My Biggest Profit. Yeah, good job for you. I like seeing that. I like seeing that a lot. There you go, guys. Crypto putting in a new high of the day. I got a whole lot of IBIT up here for some reason. Let's head over to Apple. There goes the Qs, grinding higher once again. Apple's still on a steady move higher. But there it is, guys. An additional leg to the top side now, 50, 30, and then Ethereum climbing a little bit higher as well, too. This nice hammer candle right there on NVDA. Don't want to go oppo, my guy, on that. So we'll just see what we got going on. Let's find another name. We have XRP up there as it's continuing to grind as well. So good, man. Little Hell is a solid. Yeah, Little Hell as well, too. I like his older stuff. Oh, there's a couple new tracks. After Disaster is one of my favorite songs. I forget what album it's on. Let me find out right here as we talk about some other things. And I was actually started listening to someone who's been around for a while. I forget what album it is. Yeah, let's pull it up here. After Disaster. I think the album might be After Disaster as well, too. It's called, oh no, The Love Still Held Near. So that's my favorite song on that one. Joel, Color Me City. Okay, Color Me City. I see what you're doing. Let's head over to our scanner, Obi. Run through our scans and see if we see anything that we like necessarily. Okay, without looking, I think you see.
No, I didn't see anything.
You didn't see it?
I saw that you had some stuff up, but yeah.
What name has put the most volume in today? Let's get this obvious.
What name has put in the most volume today? That's interesting. I kind of want to go. I haven't looked at the volume leader today. I kind of want to go with Open Door. I kind of want to go with Open Door. But I'm not 100% sure, but I kind of want to go with Open Door. What
NVDA.
Okay.
And I mean, this isn't within a range of anything that's, I used to more or less the market cap names. I'm sure there's some small cap names that have put in more than 140 million shares in. Sitting in that second place OBA, we have TSLL. It's usually at the top of the list, right? IVIP, IVP, so it's a smaller range. So this is anything greater than $10, right? So there's obviously some refinement within that. So Tesla going to be sitting in that. SOX L performing relatively well. NVO, Adara, NVO, putting in 60 million shares on the day. And look at this, Adara. There might be a play to be had come tomorrow morning within Novo Nordisk. Why would there be a play in Novo Nordisk tomorrow, Adara?
Well, I mean, it'd be a day 2 play, like unless there's something I don't know with their trial study. But what I was going to say was, this is not one that I touch usually intraday, because I find it to be very finicky in comparison to my friend Eli Lilly, which I find, even though it is, many dollars more expensive, is, I think, a lot cleaner trade. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't usually touch Novo. That being said, the chart did look kind of spicy today, but it usually doesn't set up for me.
It's a spicy meatball. Yes, absolutely. We can go through a couple of our other names here. You're still in that short, Obi?
No, I actually got out of it.
Okay, you got it. You covered that.
So we came into, let me pull up the chart. We came into 181s there. That's what I was looking for, right? Can we come in a little bit lower? Now, this might not be done. We could continue to make some lower highs, lower lows on the day after this high, after this 183 high is, that's what I'm referencing here. But bigger picture, this thing is stepping up, right? We're stepping up onto this consolidation. So that's the question I was asking before, right? I was like, okay, Nvidia pulling back a little bit, slowing down a little bit. Where do we go from here? There's some prior places where, buyers could definitely step right back in, just kind of keeping it simple. Where were they in the early session, and do they step back in and around the same area? So this was that consolidation I was watching earlier, right? That 82, we got 82, 8160s, and then 81s. You can see here, strong leg consolidation, and then we actually stair step up off of this kind of breakout, right? This is that breakout push. This is where those buyers stepped in. So when it comes in, kind of bleeds, doesn't really care about this, it kind of chops it around, breaks it, comes in, breaks it, comes in, and then here, it is kind of stalling a little bit. This is where the next significant kind of bid, the buyers, the continuation trade of the opening range high breakout, that's where those buyers are sitting. Maybe some more strength there, I don't know. But the market's pulling back up as well, right? So just coming into a prior area, what is the market doing? And when I saw that 181.50 not really hold as well, I just got rid of it. So that was a trade there. So not really involved with that one anymore as of right now. I was looking for a pull into VWAP. We got down to 181s. Maybe I'll stay involved if we can kind of pull back into here. But I don't really see anything too crazy. Again, stalking this Apple to see what that's going to be up to. But yeah, Google maybe Google potentially coming in here as well. So let me pull up Google here. Wow, Nvidia's pulling right back above 182. So interesting. Didn't really follow through. We got a decent push, but nothing too crazy, right? So that's what it is. Sometimes you just gotta take what you can get, and then nothing too crazy. There's the Google. There's that coming in right now with some strong volume candle on Google, pulling in and breaking through these lows. So yeah, this is area of supply from before. It seems like sellers are stepping right back in here once again on Google. Going to a higher time frame, just a 15-minute. Yeah, I think we might have some breaking news. What's up, Adara?
Yes, so here's what could be happening here with Google, and I just saw this right as you mentioned it, Obi. So an individual who works for relations for Claude, which is of course another AI model, his name is Alex Albert. He posted less than a minute ago that the Claude Opus 4.5 is out today. Now, in case you guys missed it, a lot of this Google run has been attributed to the release of Gemini 3 and Gemini 3 Pro. Well, now we get Claude out here, or Claude, with their response, the Claude Opus 4.5. That's going to be out today. GOOGL, not liking that too much. Back to you.
Great shout out there, Adair, as we've seen volume on the 5-minute time frame start to pick up there, Obi, in goggles, so not too bad. This almost looks like an M pattern, so shout out to, once again, M.R. For those who know who M.R is. Adair, do you know M.R? Okay, yeah, he's all right. So there it is, double top. You're not missing anything, trust me. So there it is. This is leg, and then I think this is going to be a key neckline here. What were you saying, brother?
I said, yeah, pulling right back in.
Yeah, pulling right back in. I mean, if it cracks 311, I think there can be some more downside. I'm not saying that's necessarily going to be the case today, but maybe something to look at a little bit down the road.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even right now, I think that's coming into VWAP right there. I was watching it for a potential long and then now a potential short as well. I did call it out a little bit earlier, but yeah, that's coming in quite nicely. Where's the next trade? That's what I'm looking for as well. Yeah, I keep looking at this Apple and I just kind of feel a little disgusted at myself. I'm just like, how can I even, you know, do something like that? This was definitely a pure tilt.
I thought that was
pure. You thought it looks nice because it looks like covers, right?
Yeah.
I cover everything right there, so no, don't worry about that. That was a hard fumble on my part.
But break that down to the 1 minute. Let's get a little more.
Yeah, let's go to the 1 minute right here. Look, like there's no real reason to cover here. Look at that grind.
Man.
See, I get long on bids, right?
Yeah.
I do get long on bids, but I'm getting stuck to the idea there. Boom, 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 boom. Funny enough, I punch the lows, and that happens to be the Pico low, and it just comes right back in. So unnecessary, irrelevant. Don't do that. So that's not really the best of decision making.
Was there a specific reason on why you got out? You're just like, whatever.
Why I punched out of it? I was just risk. I was I don't want to risk more than this. I don't want to risk more than this. But it's funny enough, I find that like, you know, when it comes to like reversions, the more extended you get, the higher the EV goes, and then you want to be putting on more risk. So it's just like it's a bit of an interesting play style. But again, I'm just like, I know I want to be buying here, but I got to keep it much tighter until the right side of the V actually comes in, or I got to keep it much lighter until the right side of the V comes in. But not getting back in is just the same kind of mistake here. Looking at this consolidation breakout as well, I think reasons to buy definitely show up once again here on the right side. So that was again keeping up on the side. I'm just like, don't do dumb things. Basically, that's being a reminder to myself as of right now. I think we got some more breaking news. What's up, Adara?
Keep an eye here in MNMD, that is Mind Medicine. Marijuana Moment just reported that New Jersey lawmakers have approved a bill to legalize psilocybin therapy. So again, any of these mushroom-related stocks, including MNMD, on watch after Marijuana Moment reports that New Jersey lawmakers have approved a bill to legalize psilocybin therapy. Back to you.
Thank you. What what's a couple of the, I know MMND, I'm pretty sure,
MNMD.
MNND, right?
MNMD.
And there's another one there, I think it's MNND. Is
there another one?
No, I forget, Adair just brought us. Anyways, aside from that, I know there's a couple of them that my friends are involved with. Yeah, I know, say man, woman, peace. There's something that we were kind of joking. My buddy sent it into the group chat. They're like, I don't even really want to repeat it. I'll tell you, it's insane. It's just like when the most absurd drug finally opens up its dispensary, and it's just like everybody goes to it. It's funny, but I mean, at the end of the day, guys, it's 2 o'clock.
Yeah. Oh, what?
Oh, before we leave,
I didn't even realize what
it's
time.
2 o'clock. We're gonna do what we've been doing all of last week, you and I, Obi. It's the 30-second trade review.
I like that.
Give it to us. Jody, we'll see you tomorrow. While Obi and I are doing our 30-second trade review, Put it in the chat, $ and then the specific ticker in which you would want us to talk about on the rundown before the end of the show, and we send it back over to Neil and Sean. So we're going 30-second trade review with Neil starting now. I mean, with Obi starting now, and then we're going to get your votes in the chat, guys.
Boom, thank you. All right, right off of the opening drive, absolutely solid long, but when that